to approximately 9:30. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5th of July 2022, the year of our Lord. The day set for IMF team to land in Ghana, prepare for tomorrow's meeting. Yes, and the day also that a lot of things are happening with respect to teacher unions going on strike effective yesterday, asking for their 20% COLA to be sent to them. Would the government heed and end the strike as soon as possible, or there will be still negotiations to be had? Well, we'll wait to see. Interestingly, a lot of things are happening respect to IMF conditionalities and the possible impacts on the entire nation and everybody else. So the president has been having talks with some private sectors to see how they can merge together and facilitate our economic development. Would that also yield positive dividends? Just a matter of time. Well, it's going to be an interesting show, ladies and gentlemen. Join us on our YouTube channel, Hstv GH Live. All right, Hstv GH Live. You can join us there, subscribe so you get notification button every other time that we are on air, and you get to watch the amazing things we have for you right here. Don't forget, we're on GoTV as well, channel 21. So in case you don't have the access at where you are, but you have GoTV channel or the decoder, you can simply log on and look for us, channel 21, and you can enjoy all the amazing stuff we have for you here on Health and Safety Television. Well, welcome. My co-host Stephanie Georgina Mayana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I chanced upon some trending story about a possible Premier League player who has raped a woman, and the story did not even name who it was, but all of a sudden accusing fingers is being pointed at Thomas Partey.
Wow.
And as I speak to you, he was trending yesterday. As I speak to you, he's at number 2 on the Twitter trends today, and everybody's talking about it. But I don't know what exactly they heard about Thomas Partey that all of a sudden they think he's the one.
He's the one.
Meanwhile, Open Eyes in Germany getting ready for the preseason games.
Wow.
And everybody is pointing accusing fingers at him that he's a possible person. That why would it be Thomas Partey? I don't get it.
But how can you as an individual be a possible person for such a crime?
Some people are saying it's a diversionary tactic. There are issues in Ghana and the political thing. Somebody wants to shift attention and all that. Yeah, they bring up some stories.
Yesterday, what did Gabi post?
Yesterday. Just a false alarm, just a hoax, sort of, just to divert people's attention from the real issue that is on the ground. Yesterday, the list of ministers who are going around trying to do the PR bidding of the government with respect to the IMF issues. Like, they have most radio stations. Yesterday, Lonkojo Ponkroma was supposed to go to about 3.
Yeah, I think he went to CT, he went to Peace,
and then I think another
TV3.
Yeah. Charlie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be one of those things that they just put in the just to make people begin to talk about it and all that. But the source of the story is also coming from the Sun, which is also not based in Ghana. It's like US kind of newspaper. So let's see what will happen.
It's not a good one.
Anyways, today promises to be another great day. There's already rains. Yesterday I checked the rain forecast on my phone. It told me about 60% precipitation
today.
Yeah, for today, and I'm not surprised. Showers.
Yeah,
and I hear it's already raining seriously out there. So if you are driving to work, wherever you find yourself, please make sure you are protected. If you have not left home yet, maybe you should stay and then wait for a while. You don't know how the weather is going to be out there. So from what I saw on my AccuWeather, it's going to rain all the way till like 5 p.m. today.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's what the AccuWeather said. But of course, I don't know what the Ghana Meteo Service will predict. It says it's going to rain all the way till 5 p.m. That's how it was like yesterday when I saw. So I don't know how it's going to be, but it's just to be on the safer side. Make sure if you are driving, you make sure you move your car to a higher land. If you already parked your car, you know that the place is waterlogged. Simply go move the vehicle from where it is. And then if you're moving out, you should move out necessarily. Then it should be protected. Have some umbrellas or raincoats. Wherever you're going to, if you know that the place is water prone, please don't go at all. Please call, let them know that for these reasons you can't be there or can't partake in that
and those
whatever
of
meeting
you
it is.
who know that where you are going to is on a higher ground, but you still say that where you are coming from is going to be flat, please go to work. If you can't go to work, don't stay at home.
Okay. All right.
But
So
it's actually
today,
nice when it's raining and then you're like still in bed. You know that. Yeah, you're wrapped in your blanket and the roof.
we should have even canceled the shit today, honestly. No. But don't worry, Ada sang testimony, so we have a testimony. So yeah, that you're alive, we are here, and we're gonna do the show no matter what. So, what are we doing today?
Yeah, of course, Sweeter Jilly, the usual, is going to come viewers' way, where she's going to teach us a thing or two in the kitchen, and then we're going to have matters arising, talk about everything, talk about IMF, talk about Thomas Party, talk about what Occupy Ghana is saying, what the teachers are also saying, the teachers union, almost everything, and it's always interactive. You can equally share your views, your thoughts, or comments via our WhatsApp numbers at the right hand side of your screen.
We had a golden tulip has not been sold.
This U-turn is just yesterday there was a U-turn from GRE and then now see.
It's 12 years lease.
12 years lease, from Golden Tulip to Lancaster Hotel. Now I say it's 12 years.
It's a lease, please. Yeah.
But how is your uncle doing though? How is your uncle doing?
How is
your uncle doing?
Which uncle? My uncle is a retired Church of Pentecost apostle. He's called Apostle.
But don't you think there's a striking resemblance between you two?
What's our chrome?
Don't you think there's a striking resemblance between you and him?
Me?
Yes.
For whatever?
Yes.
No, I'm even taller than him.
Who's claiming height?
I have apostles, 2 uncles, all apostles. I saw 4 come on, doing intro.
They are the pastors. How about you?
I have a lot of pastors in my family. My brother is a pastor. Yeah, Empesa, intro. You can't go.
What are you doing for Infocus?
Well, our Infocus today we're talking about the local tourism. Maybe we might narrow it down to the night economy or night tourism. So the pubs, the clubs, and how it generates resources and support the tourism sector has a target of about 4 billion by the end of 2024, according to the president. And we're hoping that they'll be able to finish generators try and come by at doing so. So now they are refurbishing certain places. So they've done with their Timers one, they've done with the National Museum. And and then there are also people coming in and all that, traveling inside Ghana, So yeah, we'll look at that aspect of things and see how economy, make the economy better, basically.
Great, because we need money at this point.
Indeed.
Someone says IMF is if Momo fails.
Well, there's a story we're going to talk about. Somebody is asking, Professor Ebo Texan is asking that we should scrap the e-levy and bring on vehicle tax. Approximately, if everybody has if you have about 5 million cars in Ghana and everybody's supposed to pay like 400 Ghana cedis per year, which will be taken by the DVLA, then we should be able to make more money. The nuisance, one of the taxes that luxury tax that was shut down completely because people wouldn't want to pay. They say if you have a vehicle that the engine is about 3.5 and above, it's supposed to be paying certain threshold of money, and it didn't wash. Actually, it was thrown away because people were not willing to pay. Now, Professor Texan is also saying that.
Why it was like? Why are they being indecisive? Why can't they, test
Professor Texan is just
okay. But why do this when it fails? Then tell us exactly we need to do. They said they have a solid team. So tell us what exactly is going to give us the money.
Solid team,
Don't come and tell us e-levy. Then now e-levy after all these months, and then you tell us that you don't even have up to 10% of that amount accumulated. Then you come back and then you tell us that now vehicle tax now.
Solid team na kote free come. Nah, they're one of the best brains in Boateja Kuche free.
Homegrown solutions. Well, on Stay Alive, we're going to have a conversation about baby development stages. We just want to focus on babies and then, teach mothers out there how to take proper care of them, because it looks like before you become a personality, a great personality like Diego, you start from somewhere. So if the care, the affection, the proper training, nurturing wasn't given to you, you wouldn't have been where you are today. So in as much as last week, Monday, Tuesday, we discussed, taking care of babies, how to bath them, how to feed them, the sleeping pushes and all of that, dressing and everything. Yes, yesterday we also spoke about feeding, the stages of baby feeding as well. So today we're going to more like wrap it all up with baby development stages. What your baby is supposed to.
With Reverend Felix back in the last time about fatherhood. He mentioned two key things with childhood development: nature and nurture.
And nurture.
So you're nurturing, and by the nature is the environment also that also adds up to it. So maybe you look at those two aspects of things.
We'll look at that, because there's some things that common things that you need to see your baby doing, especially when your baby is celebrating the very first birthday. Maybe baby should be able to make some exclamations like mama, like dada, like oh, like baby should be able to at least sit without falling. Baby should be able to move food from the spoon down to the throat. So there are key things your baby is supposed to be able to do as before maybe baby is a year old, or even when baby is a year old. Baby should be able to stand without falling, not even walking, but stand without falling. So baby development stages, we deem it a very interesting and appropriate conversation to have today on a Tuesday. And I'm going to do this with our resident midwife, Ravi. Yeah.
She's coming in.
Yeah, she's coming in today. So
all right. So that and many more. Plus, Ghana has been banned for the next 2 years for the under 17 team for the reason that we filtered two people who are older than they are supposed to be playing the game. They are university students and they are claiming to be under 17. The last time this happened in 2015, we had a similar issue. We were banned for 2 years, and it has happened again. What has the GFA been doing with respect to that? And the Women Football Federation, what is the issue that you couldn't avert this? Unfortunately, this is where we are. Well, there are many other stories that Precious Azuma will be coming through on Sports and Minutes to tell you more details about. So stick around for that, and then we'll be giving you some music in between the show as well, also to cool down. The weather is has brought itself, so you know what I mean. Obeji TV now, some hot coffee beer now, just like we're about to have. So join us, let's have a ride today from now to 9:30. The show is brought to you by Kant Kessie, Prudential Life Insurance, always listening, always understanding. We'll take a quick detour. When we come back, it'll be time for Sweet Jelly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Hello, sweet team. Welcome back to my channel. This is Sweet Ajele. Have you made your all-purpose stew yet? If so, let the easy meals begin. So we're beginning with none other than jollof rice, and this is on those weeknights that you just get home, you want to throw something together. I just fry my spam, I add in my stew, everything together, wash my rice and add it into it, and within 30 minutes jollof rice will be ready for dinner. Okay, and this is why I love making a huge batch of time. It makes your life easy and everybody else happy. So following the same process as making jollof rice, I add in the rice, I stir it until it absorbs all the stew. I add some water to loosen it up, cover with parchment paper, allow it to cook until the water comes out like this. Give it a couple of stirs in between cooking, and jollof for dinner will be ready. It is that simple. And once your jollof is ready, you can dish it anyhow you want. I will usually transfer it into a container like this so that my kids and the whole family would enjoy whenever they want, because after dinner this will go into the refrigerator for the next day. Our next recipe would be making chicken stew. So after I've washed the chicken, I'll add some water to it and transfer it into my pressure cooker. To that, I'll add some chopped onions, spice blend cubes, and green marinade, chicken seasoning, and salt. Give it a good stir. Cover it up and allow the pressure cooker to do its thing. Okay, once this is done in the pressure cooker, it is nice and tender. As you can see, I'm going to shallow fry it in some coconut oil just for flavor. You don't even have to fry this if you don't want to. I just want to infuse it with some of the coconut oil flavor. So as you can see, it's just a simple shallow frying. Once this is done, I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the pan, set it aside, and using the same pan, I'll add in some of our all-purpose stew. To that, I'll add the stock from cooking our chicken and then bring it to a boil. Once it boils, we're going to reintroduce our chicken back into the stew, allow it to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, and our chicken stew dinner would also be ready. I'm telling you, in less than an hour, because the pressure cooker cooked the chicken in about 20 minutes, and then we shallow fried it a bit and then added our already cooked stew, then brought it to a boil, and look at that. Weeknight chicken stew ready in, well, I can't say minutes, in under an hour. So yeah, it is minutes. And we enjoyed this with rice on this night. So yeah, that is recipe number 2 checked. But we have to veer off the Ghanaian dishes a bit. Yes, you can use this stew to make other things. So in a bowl, I'm going to add some shrimps. To that, I'll add some all-purpose seasoning, stir it up, and set it aside. Next, we're going to bring some water to a boil. So I add the water to my pot. To that, I add some salt and olive oil. Once it comes to a boil, I'll break in some pasta. Yes, and allow it cook until al dente. I'll then go ahead and saute our shrimps until they're golden brown. Our pasta is ready. It is al dente. So I'm just going to go ahead and get out the water and set it aside. Check on. Here we are. Our shrimps are doing well. Look at it, so delicious. Please be careful you don't finish this before you begin with dinner. So once I flip it over, I'll cook the other side for a few minutes, and then it is done. We would set it aside. In a pan, I'm going to add in some of our stew. Yes, this stew is so versatile, eh? My kids are very happy with this delicious dinner this night. Okay, and then we'll add in our sauteed shrimps, our pasta, toss everything together, and that is about. You don't have to add anything else, but I chose to add in some bell peppers to bring a beautiful pop of color to it. I'm also going to go ahead and add in some parsley, my favorite herb of all. Toss everything together, serve, and enjoy. Again, dinner in under an hour, 30 minutes to be precise, and my kids were happy. Okay, so now moving on to the next recipe after I dig into this deliciousness. This night we'll be making beef stew. So I've already parboiled my meat. I'll add 1 green marinade, all-purpose seasoning, salt to taste, stir everything together. I'll add in a little water because of parboiling. Most of the water is out of our meat, so I'll add a little bit of water, cover it and cook it until it is done. And we are back. Our meat is looking good. Oh my goodness. All we're going to do today is to saute it a bit. Y'all know I love my coconut oil, right? Yes, and I have a cold press coconut oil recipe for you all coming up. So do look out for that. And once we just saute it for a bit to golden brown, I'll add some onions to it. And oh my goodness, do you see this right here? All you need is your favorite beverage and some toothpicks. Relax in your living room and enjoy. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm going to take some of it before adding in our stew. Don't judge me. I'll also add in the stock from cooking the meat. Give everything a stir, bring it to a boil, and then I'll allow it to simmer for about 10 minutes and our beef stew will be ready, okay? I promise. And we are back. Do you see this? Our stew is ready. So all that is left is for us to serve and enjoy. And as you can see, we have amadana shifio, cucumber fio, wawlokome, and the enjoyment just begun. Now let's move on to the next recipe. So whatever leftovers we had from our beef stew, I'm going to make gari photo the next day for lunch, okay? And that stew stayed on that stove overnight and it didn't go bad. That is because it is well fried. And I take some of the sauce to set aside because I don't want the gari photo to be more than enough. It's just for me and I don't want to make too much. I'll add a little water to the gari, give it a stir, and then we're going to go ahead and add the gari into the stew. I'll add some onions to it. You may add whatever vegetable that you prefer, and then I'll stir everything around, and my lunch is ready with the same stew, the leftover from yesterday's beef stew, okay? On this day, the kids wanted pasta, so I'm just going to bring some water to a boil. To that, I'll add some salt and olive oil, and I'll be adding some macaroni to this, okay? We will be making a macaroni day with some of our all-purpose stew, and this will be ready within 30 minutes, okay? Once our pasta is cooked, I always cook my pasta to al dente, okay? I don't want it too soft. Then our pasta, give everything a stir and cook it for about a minute or two, and our dinner, my kids are gonna toss the veggies out, but I always try to make it look as pretty as possible. Oh, and if you are a cheese lover, please do not hesitate to add cheese to any of these pasta recipes, okay? It is absolutely delicious. Continental food, madam. Ow, food, madam. International food captain. We'll show you how to make pizza, jollof, mango and okra soup, sushi and pastries. All this and more. Tonight is a fish stew kind of night, so I add our sauce to the pot, allow it to come to a boil, add in our air fried red snappers, turn everything over so they some of this delicious stew. Cover it, lower the heat, and allow it to simmer for about 10 minutes, and our fish stew will be ready, and you can enjoy this with anything you like. Yam, gari, bangkun, you name it, it goes so well with it. But on this night, we were craving for kinky. So now that our stew is ready, all that is left is for us to serve and enjoy. And as I said, we would be enjoying this with some kinky. Do you prefer fish gravy instead? Then place your fish into your serving dish, and I'm using air fried tilapia. And with the stew, I just warmed it up in the microwave. I'm just going to add the stew over the fish, allow it to sit for about 5 to 10 minutes so that it can soak up some of the deliciousness from the stew and also release its own deliciousness into the stew. And that dinner is ready. Let me tell you, this dinner was literally ready in like 15 minutes because we decided to enjoy this with rice. So all I really had to do was cook the rice, and I also air fried the tilapia, but I don't add that to the recipe because I just seasoned, placed it in the air fryer, and allowed it do its thing. And then dinner was ready. Hey, should I repeat again? Please make that stew. It makes your life easy, especially if you're in the diaspora. On this day, we're making egg stew. Who doesn't love egg stew? Just add your stew to your pan, bring it to a boil, add in your eggs, stir a bit. We don't want it to be too broken up because I like my egg sauce very chunky. And then cook it until your eggs are ready like this. And then add in any vegetable. Of course, you know we love onions. We want the crunchiness of the onions. So once I've stirred it beautifully, I'm going to go ahead and top it up with some onions and then a bit of parsley, as y'all already know. Yes, I'm guilty. I'm a parsley kind of girl. I'll add that as well. And just like that, our egg sauce is ready, and we'll be enjoying it with some cocoa amankani. I think that's what it's called. Taro roots. Oh Lord, this whole recipe was so delicious. The taro roots literally melt in your mouth. So yes, that was the story for this night. Moving on. In the next recipe, we'll be making spinach stew, and I'm using chicken thighs, which I'll season with some of my all-purpose seasoning and our brand new spice blend. Okay, I've made that recipe and I'll share it soon. Oh my god, it is new and improved, super delicious. And all I'm doing is steam frying this chicken. So I started with coconut oil, and then I added the chicken with the seasoning. I'll stir everything together well, and then I'll cover it and allow it to steam fry. It'll first release its juices, and I'll continue steaming it until all the juice and then fries beautifully, just like this for us. Oh, I love doing this. It is quick, it is easy. Next step, y'all already add in your a good, and we're going to go ahead and add in some frozen spinach. So we're not really cutting anything today, we're just chopping thing. Okay, once I've added in my spinach, I am in the mood for palm oil stew. So after stirring, I'm just going to pour a little bit of palm oil over it and allow it to simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, after stirring this together, I decided to add some agushi to this sauce. So in a separate pan, I'm going to do just that. I add a bit of water to my agushi. I'm using about a quarter cup of water. I'll stir everything and then allow it to swell a bit before adding a bit of palm oil to a separate pan, pouring in the agushi, and we're going to stir fry this until it separates. That will be an indication You see how creamy it is right now? It's going to scramble like overcooked scrambled eggs, and that is when you know that it is well cooked. I'll have a full recipe of making spinach stew with this method that I know you all would love, because y'all had questions when I made my original spinach stew. So don't worry, I'll bring you this recipe. So do you see how it looks now like overcooked scrambled eggs? Then it is done, because if you undercook this omusumbacho, you will have running stomach, and we do not want that. So our agushi is ready. We'll just add it into our spinach stew, stir everything, and it is done, because our sauce is already done. Our spinach stew is done. So once we add this, we would be ready to serve and enjoy. And I'll be enjoying it with some plantain. The rest of the family enjoyed it with rice, but this is what I wanted. It was super delicious, and it was ready in under 30 minutes. Now, before I start boring you guys, this will be the last recipe. I think I've given you all enough ideas. I have the same type of stew with chicken in it. I added some cut up cabbage. I'll stir this together, and I do not like my cabbage to be too soft, so I'll cook this for just about 3 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and add in some red onions for the crunch and also color to this dish, and we will be ready for dinner on this day. Why won't you make this stew? You must make it, because it will make your life very, very easy. I promise you. Doesn't that look delicious? We will be enjoying it with some rice and beans. Oh my goodness, this combination was a wicked one, and I cannot wait to bring you this recipe. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and are inspired to try the recipe. Until I see you in the next one, stay safe, keep loving each other, and remember that the love of God and family is life's greatest blessing. And guys, ke onamini ochemi sweet mahabotu. Bye. All this and more, sweeter
You are welcome back from that short break. Was Sweeter Julian. That was quite a long one, and I believe that you learned a thing or two. So if you just tuned in, you're still watching Healthy Morning live here on Hstv. My name is Stephanie Ejojina Manyana, and I'm here with my co-host William Diego Pakabeni. And it's time for Matters Arising. In this segment, we discuss issues that are happening in the world, in the country, and beyond. And know that it's equally interactive, where you can send your messages, your thoughts, your comments as well via our WhatsApp platform at the right hand side of your screen. You have the numbers there. Alternatively, we are active on all our socials. On YouTube, we are live as Hstv. you can head onto the comment section beneath and then you leave your messages there. So before we get into the dailies, we have some birthday celebrations for some special persons. And
Oh yes, so about 3 of them.
Okay.
So I'll start off with the man in the brown top called Christopher Benin. His kind of Alright, so let me do the Ninoy first. Ninoy happens to be a TV presenter. He does more of gospel. He's an entrepreneur, a banker, and he pushes the agenda of gospel music and all that.
Oh.
So his show at Manson TV or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah, today's his birthday. So happy blessed birthday to you, Ninoy. He's a very nice guy, very, very friendly, and he's more like a friend to many. Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Very, very, very nice guy. All right, happy birthday to you, Ninoy. Have a good one. All right, so away from that, let's do another birthday. Let's do the Christopher Benin's birthday. So Christopher Benin is also celebrating his birthday today. A long distance relative that I don't even know, but I got to know via social media. So more like a cousin sort of should be.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you, Christopher. Have a good one. And from the entire Benin family, wish you a happy blessed birthday. Okay. And then finally to the queen of mid-morning show. I'm talking about Doreen Andor. Today is her birthday. Happy blessed birthday, Doreen Andor. I mean, you set the pace for many of the radio show hosts. She hosts Cosmopolitan Mix on Joy. So today's her birthday. She's turning 50 years today, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Happy blessed birthday to you, Doreen. Have a good one and have enjoy your birthday to the max. Okay. 50 years is a big milestone. 50 years is a big milestone. So
I like how you say it. Welcome to the fifth floor.
Yeah. Welcome to the fifth floor. Yes, indeed. All right. So enjoy your birthday, Doreen, and keep doing what you're doing, and keep being a mentor and an inspiration to many others in the media space. All right. Enjoy your birthday.
Oh, amazing.
All right. So
happy birthday.
let's move away from the birthdays and get into the dailies. We start off with the Finder this morning from Elvis Darko and his team. They have the banner headlines that says government engages private sector to chart a common path to economic recovery. And we have the story, so without wasting much time, I'll get into that story so that we can move ahead with that. So it comes to the picture of our president in a meeting with all those private sector key people. So the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is courting the support of the private sector to help revive the Ghanaian economy. The president reiterated that the government cannot continue to rely on donor support. Speaking at the meeting with the businessmen and captains of industry days after the announcing plans to seek help from the IMF, President Akufo-Addo says the private sector holds the key to Ghana's socio-economic development. He referenced his history, citing countries like Japan, Korea, and the Asian tigers that transformed themselves from low product economies to high productivity economies. The examples that we have seen in our period of history have all been the countries where the private sectors have been the dominant force in economic growth and development, President Akufo-Addo said. That is an example that has always inspired me in my career as a public official and as a politician, that we will get a situation whereby the private sector in our country will be the lead agency and vehicle for the social and economic transformation that we are all looking for. The importance of the private sector is in line with the government has consistently told. Even at the local government level, the central government has urged metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies (MMDAs) to partner with the private sector to develop the local economy. So, our president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, with respect to harnessing the efforts of the private sector for national development.
Right.
He sees it as the or people we can the development. Always relying on donor support and all. So before the IMF engagement starts, he's engaging the private sector. This is long overdue, long overdue. Anyways, away from that, some other major stories on the front page of the paper. At the top left corner, the hottest man in Ghana, the most wanted, Ken Oforiatta, is there. It says IMF negotiations begins tomorrow, and we are told the big boss himself is leading the team to Ghana today. They are touching down today for the commencement of the meeting on negotiations tomorrow. So let's see how that goes. We are told that also that according to the information minister, government still reposes much confidence in Ken Ofori-Atta as a finance minister. So hopefully he's going to lead the call. But I'm hearing also from other quarters that the president will also be part of these meetings.
Okay.
All right. So away from that, teacher unions on indefinite strike over demand. I think we have that story also. So let me quickly look for that. Okay, I have it. Okay. Teacher unions declare indefinite strike over cola. Yesterday, they decided to do that. So the pre-tertiary teacher unions in Ghana have declared an indefinite strike action with immediate effect following the failure of government to pay cost of living allowance, that is cola, they asked for. The unions are the Ghana National Association of Teachers, National Association of Graduate Teachers, Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana, and the Teachers and Educational Workers Union too. Unions declared a strike on Monday, that is yesterday, July 4, 2022, at a press conference in Accra. Reports says that the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations has invited the leadership of the teacher unions to a meeting over their demands for the payment of the cost of living allowance to members. It's also said only the Ghana National Association of Teachers, that is NAT, has responded to attend, with the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and Jikabono and his team, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana, CCTGH, and the Teachers and Education Workers Union yet to respond. It said once the other unions were ready for the meeting, it will be held, adding that the government was not insensitive to the plight of teachers and workers in general. So let's see whether the three unions will also add up, and then they can have the meeting with government so that these ECOLA issues will be resolved sooner than later, so that our students can also have effective learning and teaching in schools. All right, still on the front page of the Finder, going to IMF is a tragic mistake according to TUC, Trade Union Congress. They are not happy at all. There's I think is it TUC or another group, they're also saying that they should be careful about the what do you call it, the conditionalities. They are warned against the conditionalities because certain conditionalities
you can't
will
really
go a long way to affect them. I think it's UTAG rather. UTAG. Okay. So the story says we won't tolerate IMF conditionalities that disadvantages us. UTAG warns government. And so let's put that story in line and then continue with it. So the University Teachers Association, that is UTAG, has warned that it will not tolerate any conditionalities from the International Monetary Fund that will disadvantage its members. In a statement on Monday, July 4, the association stated that it has taken note of the government's application for economic assistance for the fund. It, however, stressed that it will not welcome any policy directive from the fund with adverse effects. Pay attention to that. We thus feel uneasy with the government decision given its potential negative impact on UTAG members and, by extension, public sector workers, and its repercussions on the operations of public universities, a portion of the statement read. And they go on to say, in particular, UTAG would not tolerate any IMF conditionality that negatively affects the existing agreements between government and UTAG to improve the conditions of service of members, the statement added. And so they have a statement that they've issued, actually, titled Press Statement on the Expected Engagement Between Ghana and IMF, dated yesterday, July 4th, 2022, distributed to all UTAG branches and all media houses. It has about, 7 pointers. That's the perfect number. I think we can't go into everything, but let's start with the first two and then move on to the seventh one. So University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has cited the statement from the Ministry of Information with reference BP 126/1 July 2022 and signed by the Honorable Minister of Information, Kojo Nkrumah, in which the President of Ghana has authorized the Minister of Finance to commence formal engagement with the International Monetary Fund. Two, typically, an IMF may result in cutting down on excessive expenditure by the government and may help the government to focus on revenue generation to propel the economy in path of because they will be cutting of budgets. That means that their increment that they keep asking for and those neutrality allowance thing that they keep asking for will all be cut. And that is where they have a huge challenge about, hence their letter. The seventh part says, we wish to state that the government of Ghana must ensure that the conditions subsequent to their support will not disadvantage the conditions of service of labor unions, including UTAG. In particular, UTAG would not tolerate any IMF conditionality that negatively affects the existing and UTAG to improve the conditions of service of our members. So signed by Professor Solomon Nunu, National President, and Dr. Asari Asantim Ano, the National Secretary. And that is the letter to the government regarding what UTAG thinks should be the framework for tomorrow with IMF. Okay. And then still on IMF, I think there's a story that we picked about the chief who is going to lead the team to Ghana. So since we are still on IMF, let's do that story real quick before we branch into other areas on the front page of the paper. So IMF chief leads team to Accra for meeting on Wednesday, and we're talking about Dr. Albert Tona Mama. He's a resident representative of IMF in Ghana. And the high-powered team from the International Monetary Fund head office in Washington, D.C. will be in Ghana on Tuesday, that is today, to begin formal discussions for a new economic support program for the country beginning Wednesday, July 6, 2022. The government will, on Wednesday, officially start preliminary negotiations into the Ghana's quest to seek a bailout from the fund. The team is expected to meet officials of the Ministry of Finance, the economic management team, the economic management team, solid economic management team. Yes, what a team. And the presidency during its 1 week stay in Ghana. It will consist of senior officials from the head office of the IMF in Washington, D.C., United States, as well as local staff based in Ghana. Graphic Online has gathered. Last Thursday, Ghana indicated the IMF and its intention to seek bailouts or balance of payments, BOP support. And it goes on to say, President Nana Akufo-Addo, in a telephone conversation with IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, conveyed Ghana's decision to engage in the fund. The IMF country office confirmed receipt of the indication and pledged to support Ghana in its 18th program with the fund. The IMF works to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for all its 190 members countries. It does so by supporting economic policies to promote financial stability and monetary cooperation, which are essential to increase productivity, job creation, and economic well-being. In April 2015, Ghana turned to IMF for a bailout of $918 million loan to support the then ailing currency and help to stabilize the economy. Remember yesterday I spoke to the economist, Dr. Kwame Adonu. He said that what they're going to give us is $918 million and do 1 billion. But I think from one of the papers that we're going to get into says they are rather going to request for 2 billion. I said 918 billion, it was 2015, I checked. And now the economy has so they should add up to meet up the expected revenue that we're looking for. Anyway, so those are the stories with regards to IMF. Back on the finder, NHIA to pay hospitals 30% more for medicines. Okoboy is working. I say hospitals now they are Kenya now 30% extra. Now Sikano away. Where is he going to get the money from? Well, page 11 has details of the story to share. And then the final story, IMF bailout, Ghana can win with collective efforts.
Collective efforts from who? Whose collective efforts?
You didn't hear Dr. Adanu yesterday saying he was blaming 80% government, 20%.
But you gave him an answer, didn't you?
Yeah.
You gave him an answer.
I said rather, because the last I checked, you could come and say, foreign product or why never to local product in you. So why do you blame us?
The collective efforts,
but to some extent, yes, he is right, because when it comes to costing and pricing of products and services, we better to go there, the next person, or maybe you enter a restaurant or something, air condition kakra or 20 Ghana no more 45 Ghana, or 15 Ghana and 25 Ghana also. Told me yesterday, and or should I to last week? I know that for because about diapers in the Tony. The last one he got was 95 Ghana, and then the friend was like, "Hey, sister, I cost you." She said 30 Ghana no there too. So he said, "Hey, sir." Or the last week so that I can hear. I said, "Chop money." I said, "Oh, double no." Apu. Man, take crime. I said, "Many. Me share news." My salary increasing. Why did you put? Why I should have the phone out to last week? Man, I didn't hear. Anyway, it's a collective effort. According to Dr. John Kumar, Deputy Finance Minister. So all hands on deck. Let's all support the private sector and all that, the superiors in the private sector business. So they should all put their hands on deck and support to revive the ailing economy.
Okay, now let's move on to the Daily Dispatch from Ben Epstein, and the banner headlines comes with a very nice. He says government economic team member speaks. IMF by itself cannot create prosperity. They come in for stabilization. And this is from Alan Chemati. He comes with a picture of him. And a bit of the story says that there is no evidence that the International Monetary Fund, IMF, by itself can create prosperity for nations. This is from Trade and Industry Minister Alan Chemati. He explained that the IMF comes in purely for stabilization, balance of payment support, and liquidity support. Mr. Chemati also said these at a meeting with private business owners in Accra yesterday, quoting, "We have come from a long distance, quite a long distance, and those of us who went around the country with the president campaigning around the country in 2016, the circumstances in which we found ourselves were very difficult. Stagnant growth, high inflation, high debt, all the indicators of an economy that it is in severe distress were apparent at that time. But the point is that we did something which probably we have not explained quite eloquently to the people." It comes out to say that Ghana was in an IMF program when NPP took over. We decided that we had no choice but to complete the program. They're going listening. But whilst we took the decision to complete, our strategic objective was to exit because, again, there was no evidence where the IMF itself and its programs can create prosperity for you. So if IMF comes in purely for stabilization, for balance of payment support and liquidity support, so whilst we agreed to remain with the program, we tried to work ourselves out of the program, and that is what we did. So again, the evidence is there. Within 2 years, we were able to meet all the conditionalities and the requirements for the programs, and we were about to exit with our chest out. I remember Madam Christine Lagarde, the then managing director of the IMF, very uncharacteristic of the World Central Bank. She actually was praising us when we were exiting. I am making this point because whilst we agree and decided that we would keep to the program through fiscal consolidation and prudent management, expenditure and control, we decided also at the same time to embark on an aggressive transformation program.
I have a simple question for Mr. Lancherman.
Go ahead.
We went in for stability, not prosperity. That's what he's saying. If that was the case, 2015 to 2018, 2015 was NDC, 2018 was MPP. So at that point that you decided to exit in 2018, were you not stable enough? You were stable. You thought you were stable. You decided to opt out and look at the prosperity part. And then what has happened?
I think they are going to go back because 2018 they became stabilized and then they exited. But then 2019 COVID hit us, and then 2022 Ukraine-Russia war. That's the explanation. What else would they say?
Oh, you speak for their government.
What I'm just reading their minds. That is what they are going to say. That okay, 2019 fine, 2018 we exited fine, 2019. That is what they are saying.
Government spokesperson. Excellency, Stephen Mayana. Are you on the budget? You work for the from the Julia House.
That's what the point is saying. He said this is not a domestic induced phenomenon. He said this is an international crisis induced phenomenon. So this has nothing to do with us. Solid. According to him, this is not domestic, where we can say that it is the government, NPP government, that has mismanaged our economy. All they are saying is not what they are going to say. All they are saying is that it's COVID and Russia Ukraine war. Ukraine war. That is what Mr. Abbas Moro will say, my brother, but that is what these are the excuses they are giving us. So the simple question you ask him, I'm also giving an answer. Because that is exactly what they are saying.
Okay. That's it. Russia 2019. Russia Ukraine started in February.
So 2019. So you can imagine the debt we incurred. We can imagine the money we invested in COVID. 2020, 2021 COVID, then 2022 February Russia Ukraine war.
With all the 19 billion which was put out for COVID solutions and other things, with the support, donor support and everything that came in. You couldn't sustain yourself. You went into ESLA, you offer ESLA, wow. And then you are now telling us, Russia, Ukraine, and that's how they come. At the start of February, just February. I say,
okay, still on the Daily Dispatch, there's another story here as regards to Professor Raphael Obu, who was honored. I think details of that is on page 2 of the paper. I think this has to do with a success story around prostate cancer.
Okay.
That's quite a story. And then still on IMF bailout, it says government protect free researchers and others. This is from Deputy Minister for Finance, and I think I also have details of that story here. It says that Abena Osei Asare, a Deputy Minister for Finance, has debunked claims that a free senior high school program will be affected by the conditions to be spelled out by the IMF following government's decision to seek a bailout. Since the government announced its intention to seek an IMF bailout, some Ghanaians fear free SHS and other social intervention programs will be scrapped by IMF. Ms. Abena Osei Asare, who is also a member of parliament for the Etiwa East constituency, intimated that this is not the first time the country is seeking an IMF bailout when social interventions have already been implemented. Quoting, "We want to assure people that we have been here, like at the IMF before, and irrespective of that, we still ensured development, and this time will be no different. From 2017 to 2019, we still implemented the school feeding program under an IMF program, and we even expanded it. In 2017, when we came, it was around 1.3 million children benefiting from the school feeding, but in 2019, we had moved to almost 2 million children under the IMF program. In September 2017, also under an IMF program, we did implement free senior high school program." She said this yesterday on radio, and she assures that the government has plans to stabilize the current economic situation. She also added that with the government's plans in place, why is smiling? She is very optimistic that social interventions such as the free SHS school feeding programs and others will be preserved to continue to serve low-income Ghanaians. Quoting, "We have plans in place that we believe will help to stabilize the economy. Other bilateral neighbors will also come in." Other bilateral neighbors will also come in to help us in building back the economy. Which bilateral? So, like I am saying, the government will do everything possible to protect social intervention programs that we believe will protect livelihoods and cause the people who are economically low to thrive. And this is from the
Yesterday, I heard Kojo Ponkuma on another platform saying that it's possible that when they come, don't forget, they are coming for stability. Stability means that if you are overspending certain amount of money that they think you are not supposed to be spending, they'll cut it off. He's saying that some of the policies, they are likely to cut them off, and doesn't take away free senior school or other things. Because trust me, the major money that is being pushed, that is affecting government, has to do with free senior school. And it does their major flagship program. The free senior school. Their major defense is free senior school. Everything free senior school. Everything free senior school. And so when they come and decide that it's not something that is effective, we have to scrap it off. What do you have? What do you have to say? I just wish them all the best with the negotiation. They're going to go into that for a whole week, effective tomorrow. So let's see, by next week, we'll be hearing some snippets of information about whatever. I don't know whether it's going to be in camera or they will allow certain media people to be around. But yes, it's just a matter of time. We'll get to know the import or the decision that will come out of whatever decision it will be. And whether there are 2 billion requests will be fulfilled. Just a matter of time.
Right. So now to the last story, still on the Daily Dispatch. It says government still needs e-levy despite IMF assistance, and this is from what's that? The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. I think the director, Professor Peter Quote, about it that we still need the e-levy despite the IMF assistance. However, he's actually asking the government to rather reduce the charges of the e-levy. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
From 1.75 near by 1.5 is
the e-levy despite the IMF. The charges should just be reduced. That's it. Because I mean, it's
I don't know how
come to think of it, we are paying 1.5 and then we don't When we
I guess somewhere in other African countries it's as low as 0.7, 0.5 and all that. I don't know why they decided to inch it up to 1.7 in the initial stages, and until the opposition didn't back down, they decided to come down to 1.5. But anyways, let's see. There's another story that we have that Professor Texan is also advocating that we should scrap it, the e-levy, and then bring in vehicle tax. Maybe we'll get into that later. But Daily Guide, let's turn attention to the Daily Guide newspaper this morning. It has the same story that we read about the NHIS. That has, and so it says NHIS to pay 30% more for medicines. And page 3 has details of that on the front page of the Daily Guide this morning. But the banner headline says Nana leads IMF negotiation to secure $2 billion US. So that is the story about. Page 3 has details. So will they have the 2 billion as we speak? The last time, 2015, that we went for it, we got $918 million, not billion. It was million, not even up to $1 billion. And now they are asking for $2 billion. So let's see how that negotiations will go. As she said, it's starting tomorrow. And also pre-instill confidence in businesses. And it comes to the picture with Anthony Edunketia, and he's on the front page of the paper this morning. And then also Major Mahama killers asked to open defense. So I think we have that story. So let's try and get that and then finish with that. And then move on. And so you all know about Major Mahama. He was killed some years ago at is it the Western region, somewhere in the Western region. Dentra, yes. And up to date, they said the wheels of justice, the wheels of justice grind very slowly. It looks like we're still not there yet. It's so many years down the line. Now they are asking for defense to come to court and make their case. Well, the High Court has overruled a submission of no case made by lawyers of the 14 accused persons in the Major Mahama murder trial. The 14, including then Assemblyman for the Nshobwasi, William Barr, argued that the prosecution had not made a compelling case enough against them. Their lawyers thus argued that they had not been implicated in the tragic killing of Major Mahama and should be freed of charge. Justice Marianne Owusu, a justice of the Supreme Court sitting as an additional High Court judge, however, rejected the argument. Her leadership held the charges of the intentionally causing harm to and murder of Major Maxwell Mahama had been sufficiently demonstrated by the prosecution and need to be defended. She consequently overruled the submissions of no case and called upon the accused persons to open their defense. So yes, now it's going to be open. Many years down the line, they are heading to court for the case to be adjudicated on. So that is it with respect to the Major Mahama story. But the last story, the top corner of the paper, comes to the picture of Jackie Appiah. She was a talk of town over the weekend, last week actually, and it's still being talked about. It says, slave queens, quote unquote, scramble for mansions. And this is as a result of she showing building. She was, I think she had a visitor from Nigeria who decided to take a video of her place. And posted it on social media, and everybody was talking about, hey, Jackie Appiah, Jackie Appiah. Do you remember? Yeah, acting in Kwana, said Bibi can only idea. Everybody was talking about it. But I heard Randy Abbey talking about the fact that she didn't start building that house today. It's been 10 years coming.
Jackie Appiah is an actress. She's a brand ambassador.
She's been doing other jobs aside the acting. So don't think that she just took off one day and then boom.
Even if she took off one day, how is that your problem?
I'm on for back. Can say slave queens maternity. They can come. No, Tracy Boy, she's also the lady I talk about. Gold House. Tracy Boy, this is a video. Your friend, the Gold House. And then baby, I go. The chairs, everything go plated. Hey, or playground here, you know. So one collaboration, some person would go with you. They walk on, they go playground. So. We're waiting for the next person, by the way. Moisha has now left that space. We don't know what that. We are not too sure about Moisha now. Yeah, trying other ones, but you're most to me display more than why. See, I said, yeah, competition. I'm done with the daily guide.
Yeah, now let's move on to the daily state. Long push 16 rent laws. It comes with a picture of Francis Asensubuachi. He is the Minister of Works and Housing.
Let's read a bit of it. Okay. The efforts by the sector minister address problems associated with rental housing received a major boost. Stakeholders made up of industry players and academia undertook the review of the existing Rent Act 1963, Act 220, meant to, among other things, bring sanity in the administration of rental housing and remove inherent constraints on housing supply in the country. The relevance of the existing law, as amended and passed by Parliament some 59 years ago, has been outlived by the current population and demand and supply imbalance. This situation has saddled the rental housing industry with huge challenges, with landlords demanding years of advance rent. Speaking at a colloquium to review the existing Rent Act and bill for the establishment of the Ghana Housing Authority, the sector minister, Francis Asensubuachi, said reforming the existing legislation on rent in the face of rapid urbanization will breathe new life into rent administration in the country by promoting a delicate balance between needs of the landlords and tenants. Acknowledging the importance of provision of housing to government for developmental goals, Asensubuachi stated that the reforms will help increase access to housing by the ordinary Ghanaians, adding that the new act should be able to, quote, safeguard the rights of vulnerable tenants who have been outpriced by the uncontrollable hikes in the cost of rental accommodations, unquote. So that is the whole facet of the discussion. Touching on the dire need to put in place institutional architecture to drive the housing sector, as Asensubuachi explained that establishment of the proposed Ghana Housing Authority will be a key in the country's ability to regulate, plan, and develop managed housing development. There must be concerted effort to address the current precarious situation in the housing sector, where homeowners ownership has become a very complex and expensive venture for most Ghanaians, the minister said. So that is the conversation ongoing. I remember Mr. Posa was once here. He was from the rent control.
Yeah,
I had a conversation with him some time ago. He said that they were trying to align the old act to a new one so that they can make some changes and all that. It's been complaining about the 2 years advance rate that most landlords and landladies have been asking for. So there's supposed to be a stringent one that says that you don't take more than 6 months and that kind of thing. And the do's and don'ts of landlords and landladies. Yes, I think Mr. Posu rather. Yeah. So the do's and don'ts of landlords and landladies and even the tenants.
And it's just funny that some of the laws in the act is not what we see on the ground.
Charlie.
And we even
had the 1963 law. No? How well did it live? How well did you implement it to even go and make changes? The changes, how well are we going to go by it? Because we have a country of laws. We have a lot of laws that doesn't even work until you commit foul to the law before they come and tell you that. Do you know that this.
And ignorance in the law is equally no excuse.
They'll tell you that, yes, and then they'll impound you, they catch you, take you to court. Like Kapu Polo would not have shown some skin on social media.
Okay, so let's still stay on the Daily Statesman. Another story here says Operation Clean Your Frontage task force cautioned against extortion. And a bit of the story here says that the Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey has warned personnel deployed to ensure a cleaner Accra to execute their duties diligently. According to him, reports of abuse and extortion during the discharge of their duties will not be taken lightly. Anybody who even makes an attempt to collect somebody's tomatoes, you are gone. If you make an attempt to extort from somebody, even a cedi, you are gone. He said this yesterday, speaking at a brief ceremony in Accra to deploy some 898 men and women as part of the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative. Addressing the gathering, he highlighted the need for the program as it began yesterday. He subsequently cautioned the city response team against acts that will undermine the intent of the task force, quoting, "Discharge your duties professionally as you have been trained by the military. You are not to brutalize the people, you are supposed to engage them." The team has since paraded through major streets in the capital in a procession, and the task force is on the indiscriminate disposal of waste across the city.
I thought there was supposed to be 3,500.
And I think
the initial 1,000 had already passed out, and this is 898.
898, yes, almost 1,000. So
So what is going to happen to the rest? But it's a good thing. It's
Well,
I like
probably
the caution part.
yeah.
That even if you take tomatoes or even one Ghana, sometimes you see when you go to the place you're supposed to arrest the person because of you are related to the person, you have a relationship with the person. Just
Even if you are not related, the person gives you food stuff.
or the cool baby. So I like the caution being put out to them so that they can do their job without fear or favor.
Okay, away from that, Joseph Kujos is speaking. He says governments will manage economy out of IMF. A bit of the story here says that the Minister for Public Enterprises, who doubles as an economic management team member in the Nanado-led government, Mr. Joseph Kujo, has to IMF is a financial decision, and it is to save the Ghanaian economy from breaking down in a time where there is a global crisis. Global crisis, it says that the government made a quick U-turn on its decision not to go to IMF. The solid economic management team advises government prevent an untold hardship on the Ghanaians in the coming days, considering the current global crisis. He said there are members from the Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance who are analyzing the economy, and from your advice, the government needs to seek help. If not so, the economy will collapse, making things even worse. Quoting, it is a step to prevent a hardship coming. There is a genuine crisis at hand that has led us this far. We were growing the economy until the unexpected crisis, that is COVID. So going to the IMF is a final decision, justifying why the NPP criticized the NDC for taking Ghana to IMF. He said there was no significant global crisis that crippled the global economy to force countries to seek financial assistance, and yet the NDC successfully mismanaged the Ghanaian economy. That is why we criticize them. So they are holding brief for themselves, justifying their reason going to IMF.
This has nothing to do with mismanagement.
Yes, this was a global pandemic, a genuine concern, a genuine reason to go. But for the NDC government, there was nothing like global pandemic, so they successfully mismanaged the economy. Okay, I think there are two more stories on the Daily Statesman. It has a thing to do with Ibn Chambers. We discussed that yesterday, where he withdraws as ECOWAS envoy to Guinea. And then the last story on the paper, MCE supports flood victims with relief items. It comes with a picture of one John Amwine and the municipal NADBO coordinator who is presenting items to victims. Okay.
All right, so you're done with that, right?
Yes,
let's move on to the meridian. But before we do that, though, it's been raining somewhere cat and mouse and some elephants. As people, I don't know how you want to describe how it's raining there, whether it's cat and mouse or elephant or whatever. Please take caution wherever you are. And then, as we keep saying, if you are driving in low areas and there's some little flood over there, we're told that as low as 2 feet water is capable of taking you away or taking your cars away. So please stay away from that. Okay, move away, get to a higher land. If you know your place usually get flooded, call relatives who are in the higher places, go and join them over there right now. And then also, in case you have any experience of a flooding place that you want to share with us, you have taken some videos, please do that. Let us know where the situation is so that we can talk about it. Hopefully NADMO will hear from us and then they will come to your rescue. Okay, so if you are in any area that you're experiencing any form of flooding, send us a video and then we would probably share it to the entire people. So the WhatsApp line is on your screen right now on your right hand side. It's in blue actually, so you can just pick it up, send us any video or any issues with respect to what the rain is causing to where you may be, and then we'll share it on this platform for NADMO and other authorities to see and then come to your rescue. All right, thank you, and stay safe. It's very key. Safety starts with you. The Meridian this morning, banner headline says incompetence, corruption led Mahama to IMF. The same guy is talking here, Razak. CVM founder is the man talking about whatever issue there, and they are addressing the corruption, the reason for going to IMF here. Anyway, away from that, Boss ranked 8th on Public Enterprises League table, and yesterday we heard about the weekend, the conversation about the enterprises, public enterprises awards that happened, that even TDC was adjudged the best out of them. There's a ranking now to see some kind of competition amongst them to get them out of the constant mismanagement that is happening over there. Still on the front page of the Meridian, NDC will boot out NPP in 2024 elections. I say don't get here. Mosquito. Teacher unions strike over cola, which we've discussed already,
that.
also extensively. The 4 unions were told about. So far, one person has 3. They are waiting for them to come for a meeting with the employment minister so that they can trash it out. All right, so those are the stories from the Meridian.
From the Meridian. Now away to the Daily Graphic. The banner headline says, driving transformation agenda, you will receive needed support. President assures private sector. And we have discussed that already. On the top right, it says, IMF team arrives today, led by mission chief. We've discussed that as well. And then the teachers declare industrial action. You can get details on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. Last story, it says, open your defense, court directs Major Mahama's alleged killers. That's all for Daily Graphic.
So done that. Then Encore
repeat. It means
Encore is the name of a paper.
Encore is clap.
Yeah.
So repeat. So,
Encore.
clap. Encore repeat. Party.
Yeah. It says revealing the truth with the GMS sign. And the banner headline says, I won't shut up. Kennedy Japan Films says, we can't use face of those who took us to IMF to break the 8. I think we discussed this yesterday.
Yeah.
And the paper has taken it on another angle. It comes with a picture of Dr. Baumia, Kenoforiata, and somebody I don't want to mention his name, as well as Kennedy Japan. And these people are on front page of the paper this morning. And he's accusing these 3 that these people taking us to IMF cannot help us, or help them, get or break the 8. So that is the conversation he's having. He's fuming over there. You can see, he got nerves. NLA begins Sunday as a draw. Director General assures of better days. Comes with a picture of Samia Uku. Yesterday we talked about this also. Amansia West fails to meet revenue targets for first quarter. And then also 3,000 jobs open for Chimamponua youth. Minister commissions community mining concessions, and comes with a picture of a minister also in there as well, and the chiefs and people of the place. And then education minister hot as teacher unions declare indefinite strike over cola, which we've discussed already. And then also Mahama went to IMF over misuse of funds, unlike Akufo-Addo. Razak Opoku once again is being talked about here. So that is it from the Anchor.
Okay, now to the Ghanaian Times. 4 teacher unions down tools nationwide declare strike to press home demand for cola. It comes with a picture of the General Secretary of NAT, Mr. Thomas Tanko Musa, and we've spoken about that. Amidst economic challenges, President holds breakfast meeting with major players in private sector. Discuss that as well. And then Okoboy here doing the most with NHIA to pay hospitals 30% more for medicines. And then now to the last story on page 13. You can get details of that as regards to Major Mahama's murder case.
All right. Malik Kwekubako's the new crusading guy says government's decision to seek IMF support justified. Information Minister, it comes with a picture of Kojo Ponkruma doing a lot of explanations. And then also we have the boss ranks the 8th on public enterprise league table. We just discussed that. And then also Tema Motorway roundabout phase 2 begins September. And we've been talking about that already. And then blame Mahama for wasting Ghana's economic resources. Razak is trending power. I don't know why a lot of people are talking about what he said. And then collective efforts must ensure Ghana's wins. Once again, Dr. John Kumar, Deputy Finance Minister, is talking about that. All right. So those are the dailies for today. Let's move on to some portals and look at some stories that are coming out from there.
Okay.
All right, so I think we've done most of the stories.
I'm saying
go to Occupy Ghana.
Okay, Occupy Ghana, I can go ahead.
So Occupy Ghana is talking. They're asking the Auditor General to be up and doing. But at Occupy Ghana, it's been a long time I heard them talk, but it looks like, I don't know, all of a sudden they've got their mojos back and they are talking. Well, Occupy Ghana mounts pressure on Auditor General to enforce disallowance and surcharge powers. That's what they are saying. So Pressure Group Occupy Ghana has mounted pressure on the Auditor General to enforce his powers of disallowance and surcharge. In a second letter dated to address the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Occupy Ghana demanded confirmation of receipt of any disallowance and surcharge certificates issued by the Auditor General. The group argued that it had earlier written to the Attorney General on the same matter and In a letter which the Executive Secretary writes to the Information Commission and the Information Officer, Office of the Attorney General, and Ministry of Justice and Media, Occupy Ghana in general should provide evidence of steps taken to enforce the demand in the certificate. Occupy Ghana also expressed concern over the failure of the Attorney General to either acknowledge receipt of their letter or supply the information they requested. They have therefore entreated the Attorney General to provide them with the issues they raised in their letter, demanding confirmation of receipt of any disallowance and surcharge certificates issued by the Auditor General, as well as to provide evidence of steps taken to enforce the demands in what the request is from Occupy Ghana respect to what disallowance and surcharge has. The certificate of that has been given by the Auditor General, and they are roping in the Right to Information Commission as well as the Attorney General for redress to their concerns. Let's see whether they will have answers.
Okay, let's get into details with what Professor Ebuteksin is saying about the scrapping of the e-levy and the introduction of the vehicle tax. He says that Associate Professor for Development Economics at the University of Ghana, Professor Ebuteksin, has called on the government to scrap the e-levy immediately. According to him, he was surprised the e-levy even made it into the Finance Minister's mid-year budget review. Speaking, he stated that he has two reasons for the scrapping of the taxes. These include the need for telecommunication companies to grow their profits, and the second is to reintroduce old tax regimes that had great potential. He said that the telcos, when they have a drop in the number of consumers that use the e-levy, it has implications for their profitability. And if you take profit from them, corporate taxes on their profits, that will mean that government is even going to get less taxes from the telcos. So, quoting, we should rather support the telcos and Ghanaians to make more use of the digital technology, and then the telcos, the services that they offer, let the telcos do very well, make more profits, and then we tax the profits. We shouldn't discourage people from using their services because they provide a lot of resources for our economy as well. So his second point was that a vehicle tax should be introduced. This tax, similar to the scrap luxury vehicle tax, should not just target the wealthy class, but everyone with a car in general. That's what Professor Ebuteksin say. I don't say that.
Menante.
Don't say that.
I'll use Lexides. This is like Lexides. Yes.
Oh, it sounds nice.
Yes.
I have a feeling.
Or Lexus.
Lexides is nice. Is that a car like that? No.
Mercedes. You have Mercedes.
We have Mercedes, but
so Lexides.
Yeah, I think it's a nice name.
And then Lexus. You have Lexus too.
We have Lexus. That is there, but we don't have Lexides.
Yeah. So I'm introducing Lexides.
So you can partner with Kantanka so that you come up with the car and do Lexides.
Major.
As a dinner boy, I am a day. Lexides.
Alright, to the next story. CBI Ghana signs $80 million contract to build largest plant to produce calcined clay cement. There's one on Wager Road. It became a huge issue. Everybody was talking about it. The people in that area were complaining that they don't want it sited close to them. It's an industry that is going to affect their health. Back and forth. EPA says they're going to demolish it as I speak. They've branded it already. Almost at Juma Crampo. Brand crab name. I get that one. And it's working. EPA, what happened? Well, CBI Ghana Limited has signed an $80 million deal to construct what has been described as the largest calcined clay cement plant in the country's tema-free zones enclave. The new plant, expected to start operations in 2024, has capacity to produce 405,000 tons of cement a year. The plant will substitute 20% of clinker, the raw material used in making Portland cement. Calcined clay cement is a type of pozzolan. According to CBI Ghana, producers of Supercem cement, substituting clinker with calcined clay in cement production will have immense environmental benefit. Using calcined clay to minimize the need for traditional carbon-intensive clinker is a major advancement towards eliminating the negative environmental cement production globally. Cement production accounts for 7.5% of CO2 emissions. So it's an attempt to curb it. The new project is financed by the international consortium, including its parent company, Societe Generale, North Investment Fund for Development, EKF Denmark, with equipment supplied by FL Smiths, the world leader in cement manufacturing equipment. Meanwhile, in Cement, the parent company of Gasem, signed an agreement to acquire 50% of shares and invest into Continental Blue Investment SA, who is the parent company of CBI Ghana. As a result of the investment, Heidelberg Cement will take part in the construction of the new plant in Ghana. Heidelberg Cement, through this investment, intends to strengthen its presence in the cement business in Ghana. The joint venture partnership also intends to explore additional calcined clay projects in West Africa. So when they succeed here by 2024, per the story, by which the operations would have started, then they'll look at the other West African sub-region also.
Okay.
Let's see how that goes.
Right.
Ending or eradicating the CO2 emissions is a good thing. So we're all for it. The calcined clay cement.
Okay, you remember over the weekend we got some information circulating on social media as regards to Golden Tulip Hotel, now Lancaster Hotel.
Yeah.
And now management is saying that Golden Tulip Hotels not sold, but rather leased for 12 years. And this story says that the management of Golden Tulip Hotels, the Ghana Libyan Arab holding company, says the hotels have not been sold as reported in the media. It said the hotels have instead been leased to Accra Holdings, operators of Grand Lancaster chain of hotels, for 12 years. In a statement, the management explained that the previous lessee, Louva Hotels Group of France, indicated that it would not renew its agreement with Glaco at the end of December 2021, prompting the latter to begin processes to get a new company on board. It says, again, quoting, that through this review process, the leasing option was selected, and in line with general procurement processes, companies were invited to present proposals for lease of the Golden Tulip Hotels. 4 companies from 4 different countries, namely Ghana, Tunisia, Nigeria, and Lebanon, expressed interest and sent their proposals for consideration by the board. After several months of deliberation, the board settled on Accra Holdings, operators of Grand Lancaster chain of hotels, and subsequently secured the signing of a lease agreement with the company on May 18, 2022, pending fulfillment of pre-operating conditions. Many media reports last week indicated that the Ghana government, which owns 60% stake with Libya with 40% stake in Golden Tulip Hotels, have sold the hotels to a new investor. But Glaco said Golden Tulip Hotels have not been sold. Therefore, the said allegation or assertion is false. It said the lease agreement commencing 1st of July 2022 does not represent a sale of the hotels. It confirmed that the conclusion and signing of the lease agreement meant a rebranding of the Golden Tulip Hotels to Lancaster Hotels, effective from the lease start date. Consequently, the names of the hotels were changed to Lancaster Accra and Lancaster Kumasi City.
So the question is,
thank you,
the 60%
thank you
that the government owed and the 40% to Libya. What happens to that? It seems like Lancaster Group is the
Grand Lancaster.
It's whatever it is, it's still Lancaster. Who is getting what?
Look into your camera.
And it's not being sold, really.
Look into your camera.
It's not being sold, and we are hearing that the huge tax exemption that has been given to these people in Parliament. Why are they not passing the tax exemption bill? Why is it taking so long for them to even pass that bill? Ghana Niete. I mean, this is matters arising, so more of them will rise. We'll get to know. Say Libya, say Ghana, say Lancaster, we'll get to know. I'm saying 12 years. I feel the Encheba.
Yeah, because I remember when Asamaja lost that goal.
10 years I bet you. Even 12 years.
Yeah, 2010. So
fingers crossed.
Almost
Yo. By the way, may we know the people behind it, because we are hearing say president, brother connected. How true? Anyway, it's just a question. I'm just asking questions here. I ask questions. That's what I do. Let's wrap it up with the final story about Africans. African heads of states to champion strong starts. And the World Bank Group will host a high-level meeting on July 7, 2022 with African leaders to leverage the powerful voice of African countries in the program, whose financing and policy package was successfully endorsed by the heads of states a year earlier at a similar summit in Abidjan. The cycle of the 20th replenishment of the IDA Development or International Development Association, that is IDA 20, will run from July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2025. The meeting, hosted by His Excellency President Macky Sall of Senegal, will call all leaders and implementers to fully tap into IDA 20, underpinned by World Bank Global Enterprise and country presence to Africa citizens. It will further position the World Bank and specifically IDA at the heart of region's efforts to respond to recover from multiple crises. The head of state will underscore their commitment to a robust recovery of Africa and identify priority transformational initiatives that would allow forward with dedicated support from IDA. Africa has the most number of countries, that is 39 out of 74, benefiting from IDA 20, whose theme is building back better from the crisis towards a green, resilient, and inclusive future. So that is the conversation about IDA and where the Africans come in here with respect to that. Let's see how by 2025 the success story will be like, or will be told. All right, so that is it for Matters Horizon.
Yeah.
Golden Tulip is on lease for 12 years. Yo,
it's not good. It's now Lancaster's Accra.
Assembly the Noabo.
Say it.
Michael Jamina, may you also rest in perfect peace.
So let's talk about the Thomas Partey thing. I'm so much interested.
The story started trending yesterday, and I saw it somewhere. I even shared it with Precious, and they were like, there's a story that they are telling us that somebody who belongs to the APL, that is the Premier League, had raped somebody. The person is about 29 years old, and
Thomas is that age.
Yeah, and the person is going to be accused for it very soon. And all of a sudden, a name popped up, and everybody's talking about Thomas Partey. And as I said this morning, the last time I checked, he is at number 2 trending, and people are talking about him. But the guy, if anything at all, these white people, they wouldn't allow you to mess around. The moment they get to know, you'll be apprehended very soon. Yeah, by now, he's playing in Germany, preparing for the preseason in Germany already. So we don't really know what exactly the issue is as to whether he's the one or somebody else. It's just a matter of time. We'll get to know whether it's really him or it's somebody else. And as I said, the story puts the source to out there, not even Ghana. You understand?
Yeah.
You mentioned, let me quickly get it. You mentioned some portal that they got from. And the portal is said to be the name. Let me quickly get the name. So the Metropolitan Police told BBC Sports on July 4 an allegation of rape of a woman in her 20s was reported to the police. So it's not even a story here, and it reported by Telegraph. You understand? And the 29-year-old, who cannot be named for legal reasons, was taken into custody on Monday. Yesterday was Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Opana is in Germany. So why is it? Why people are pointing at kids?
It's just sad when you start a career and then these things come to play. Just look at how Kelly has ended. I think not just his career over, but his whole life over. You're 55 now and you've been sentenced to 30 years imprisonment. I don't know when you're going to come back. You're not going to come back as the same person.
You'll be 85 by the time.
You wouldn't even have the peace of mind to think about lyrics and even come up with a song. This was a legend. Like, R. Kelly was great. Writing songs for Michael Jackson. Writing songs for Whitney.
Yeah.
I mean, singing with big people, big stars. He's big himself. One song I like about him was Same Girl with Usher. R. Kelly is I love that song so much. How it looked like it was a play acted. I think when we are done, I'll let you watch that.
Yeah.
It was so fun. And now everything is over. It's sad.
But I doubt it has anything to do with
him.
Thomas Partey. I'm not sure he's the one.
It's an out of truth, like they say so.
Yeah, of course, every man has an out of truth, no doubt. So we'll get to know. I mean, the truth or otherwise of it as to whether he really did it or he didn't do it, or somebody else that he's been accused of. All right. So I think Rwanda in general during genocide. Remember the Houthis and the Tutsis fighting in Rwanda that went the country virtually went down on zero. And thanks to Paul Kagame, things are now getting back to normal. He's putting in some great measures and all that. All right, so Rwanda President Paul Kagame on July 4, that was just yesterday, conferred the country's National Order of Bravery. Please, I think the name they put there is in Rwanda. It's difficult to pronounce, jaw-breaking, but I'll try, I'll attempt.
Try.
And then Gabanza Bangazizi Nizi. Well, that is how far I can try. On Major General Retired Henry Kwame Aido Joseph Na Edinkra for their decision to stay back and save people during the 1994 genocide. A report by Rwanda Daily, the New Times, said the president commended both Ghanaian generals for their dedication and commitment and wished them a happy Liberation Day, which the country observes. Rwanda awards the National Order of Bravery to an individual or group of individuals who demonstrate outstanding acts of self-sacrifice to save lives of others. The report quotes President Kagame as noting that the genocide produces no heroes and simply doing one's duties required exceptional courage like these generals did, and while most failed the test, these officers did not. The Ghanaian battalion saved countless lives under the most difficult circumstances, and there is no soldier involved who does not carry invisible wounds in his heart to this day. Where others fled or were withdrawn by their government, leaving Rwandans to their fate, these officers remained and continued to lead their men and women and did what was right to do, President said of them. Aido was the deputy force commander of the Ghanaian contingent, and Edinkra was the former commanding officer of the Ghanaian battalion in the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Rwanda in 1994. They made a decision for the under-resourced and outnumbered forces to stay behind and hold their position to protect thousands of civilians who sought refuge at the UN facilities during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. Aido said, at the time when the UN in New York was contemplating the decision to close down its mission in Rwanda in view of the deteriorating security situation, I said to myself, as an African general playing a role in mission, we cannot turn our backs to Rwanda, unquote. He then sought and obtained approval from the government of Ghana to retain a residual force to assist in addressing the deteriorating security situation in whichever way possible. And today, indeed, his resilience, his support, his dedication is being rewarded by the Rwandan president. Kudos to Aido and Adinkra, Major Aido and Major Adinkra. You did a yeoman's job and you deserve that award. All right. And that note, it's a wrap. It's a wallap to Matters Horizon. But once again, let's let people know that it's still raining.
Yeah.
And please take all the necessary safety precautions that you can, and have your umbrellas. And if you are driving, make sure you don't go through the waterlogged areas. If you see the water coming up to about 2 feet, please make sure you return to wherever you're coming from. Make sure you get to the higher areas and stay safe. As I said, when I checked the AccuWeather yesterday, it's going to rain throughout from 7 a.m. up until 5 p.m. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but whatever be the case, take precautions, be safe, okay? Yeah. And if you have any videos of any place that is flooded that you want us to share for NADMO to take care of and come to your aid or support, please do that by sending us the video to our WhatsApp line, which is on your screen, the right hand corner. You can pick it up and send the videos to us, and we'll share it to the rest of the world to know what is happening to you, okay? All right.
That's it from Matters Horizon.
Yeah, so waiting for the goddess of sports, Precious Azuma, to come through with Sports in Minutes. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
is Dr. Andrew Akutu. I'm the Managing Director of Hstv Funeral Homes. Hstv Funeral Homes was established to provide modern, state-of-the-art and comprehensive funeral services. If a family lost a loved one, everything became a do-it-yourself affair. But Hstv Funeral Homes was established so that everything that has to do with the funeral, from the time a person dies until they are buried, done and made available in one place. And at all times, to emphasize the importance of treating the body of the deceased with the utmost respect and dignity. Hstv Funeral Homes provides any and all services that have to do with funerals. Hstv Funeral Homes will recover the body from wherever the death occurred, embalm the body using the most modern techniques. We will keep the body or store the body in our state-of-the-art refrigeration system for as long as the family desires. Nearer the time of the funeral, we will prepare and dress the body up for the funeral. We provide transportation, namely ambulances and hearses, to convey the body from one place to the other as the family may wish. We also provide on our premises the services of an interdenominational chapel where the services can be conducted. We also have the only modern crematory in Ghana at the moment, which services not only Ghana but also Côte d'Ivoire. We also have a cemetery, one of the only two privately managed cemeteries in Accra at the moment. All it takes, literally, is one telephone call and perhaps 2 visits to our premises for everything to do with the funeral to be arranged for. There are several funeral plans on the market. Most of them are based on the premise that when the insured person passes away, the insurance company will pay an agreed sum of money to the bereaved family. Often enough, the sum paid to the family may not be sufficient to cover the basic needs the family requires. That is where the Prudential Dignity Plan comes into its own and is significantly different, because what the Prudential Dignity Plan ensures are the services that will be required, so that it does not matter whether 5 years or 10 years after the insurance was taken, those services will be provided regardless of the fact that the costs may have gone up. Once you are insured, your services are covered. It doesn't matter how long before the death occurs.
Dignity Farewell Plan from Prudential Life Insurance, in partnership with Hstv Funeral Homes, is providing families with over a decade of experience and peace of mind when it comes to saying goodbye to your loved ones.
Like to own a home, start a business, provide seed money, or a good education for your children? The Pro Wealth Plan answers all of life's questions. This is Ekwa 9. She wants to be an engineer in future. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hammond, plan to give her the best, but don't want to be unnecessarily burdened when she's ready for university in 10 years. Do you know how much it will cost Ekwa to go to a local private university or university abroad in the next 10 years? Ekwa's parents have signed up to a Pro Wealth Plan. They pay that ensures their expenses. When she's ready for university, Prudential will pay the maturity benefit and her parents can enjoy free insurance cover for an additional 5 years. In the unfortunate event that her parents pass away, Prudential will pay over 200% of the sum assured, which is 100% immediately, 10% annually to keep Ekwa in her current school, and 100% at maturity for her chosen university. This means that Prudential Life has guaranteed Ekwa's education regardless of life's uncertainties. The Pru Wealth Plan also covers a spouse or partner up to the same sum assured. With over 26 million customers, 24,000 employees globally, and over experience, you and your family can have peace of mind knowing that you are in safe hands. Whatever your financial goals are, the Pru Wealth Plan has the answers to life's questions. Call us today and let Prudential secure your future.
Let's talk addiction. What is addiction and what are the adverse effects? What is the threshold beyond which one becomes addicted? And what happens to your brain when you take in drugs? How should you even care for family and friends who are addicts? Why just you can't stop your addiction? Join me, Praise Volabi, on Hstv. Let's get all the answers to our questions on overcoming addiction.
In your aminin or Rayo Abowa and Zimada Chima, or be there on him damn, Ada oil for no affair, no oil papa, no more on the law, and I remember it's Hstv for say, Mimbi Saudi, about the net, it's on Tadia Nasa, your real estate, in your boutique, it's on makeups, it's on sassy, it's on cast. Billy Biana, it's on Biampo, say a scooper, your banana, you are Mediga, your bow shop, and our company on ma, you take a very short video, 1 minute interview. If Fred man na me ya, I mean my pamfo, ya beba, ye fee and you are big tip. Yes, don't go me old, don't go me. Nah, full.
Is Precious Azuma, and this is still Healthy Morning, by the way. Now, straight zooming into our domestic front, the Ghana Football Association have received a disciplinary decision from CAF concerning a protest filed against two of our under-17 players in a controversial World Cup qualifiers second leg played against Morocco in Rabat. The decision bans Ghana from two subsequent under-17 World Cup qualifiers with a fine of $100,000. Ghana Football Association sent a written defense to CAF, which was not. The association have 3 days to indicate its intention to appeal the decision and a further 7 days to send a written statement of appeal to the CAF Appeals Board. The GFA will study the full decision and respond with a Black Stars defender Dennis Frimpong Odoi has revealed he is not in talking terms with his Ghana father, although he developed a frosty relationship with his father on the back of his dad's interest in acts and money. The 33-year-old right back was born in Belgium to a Ghanaian father and a Belgian mother. He was raised solely by his mother as his parents got divorced when he was 12 years old. He stated, "My father and we don't talk anymore. I blame him for certain things, like when I became a professional footballer and made good money at athletes, and was annoyed with him because all he was always asking me was, can I have money?" Now let's proceed to other stories. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko head coach Prosper Ogum has pleaded with the management of the club not to sell talisman Frank Mbele Tuga ahead of their Champions League campaign. The Cameroonian goal player played an integral role in the Porcupine Warriors Ghana Premier League triumph. Mbele scored 21 goals in the just ended season to aid Kotoko's 25th title crown. He stated, "Don't sell Mbele Tuga. We need Frank in Africa. He played integral parts for my team and management should not sell him." Very interesting update over there. Also moving on, Kanhula Rangers and Gulf FC went into their respective matches on Sunday on 32 points each. Gulf FC, who had a superior goal difference, were looking to finish second to qualify for the Sierra Leone Premier League playoff. At the end of their games, Gulf City beat Kwakwema Lebanon 91 goals to 1, while Kanhula Rangers beat Lumbebu United 95 goals to 0. The Sierra Leone Football Association have started investigating both the games actually. Now let's talk about some programs that will be coming up later this weekend. It turns out that sports, particularly football, has always been a unifying force for the people of Ashaman at large. And as a result, the youth of Christian Village formed a sport carnival called the Ashaman Sports and Health Festival. The organized event's aim is to promote sport as a tool for peaceful coexistence and social development, as well as create awareness of good health and well-being. However, it's mostly organized once every year at a Shaman Kofi Numo Park. The program will be complemented with free medical screening of various diseases, free counseling, as well as many others. So talking about programs that will be coming up later this week, the 2022 Africa Women's Sports Summit will be held in Accra on 27th of July, Wednesday. The organizers of the event, Sport Limited, announced that the event will return for the third year. This year's scope is on leadership in the Africa sports industry and building stronger system. An impressive lineup of speakers will contribute to the general theme, Be the Change, highlighting the importance of the conversation on sports leadership in Africa. Now moving on to some European stories. Gabriel Jesus is officially a player of Arsenal after completing his move from Manchester City for €45 million. The Brazilian international has signed a 6-year contract, keeping him at the Emirates Sports Stadium until 2027. Proceeding also yesterday, some breaking news came up, and it turns out that Chelsea have formally submitted your offer to Manchester United for Cristiano Ronaldo. It's believed Ronaldo would be very open to the move and would like to stay in the Premier League. An international has been arrested in North London on suspicion of rape. The 29-year-old, who cannot be named right now for legal reasons, on Monday morning, where he remains, as reported by the Telegraph. The Metropolitan Police told BBC Sport on 4th July an allegation of rape of a woman in her 20s was reported to police. It was reported the alleged rape happened in June 2022. Now let's wrap up with some tennis updates. And Nick Kyrgios battled past Brandon, reached the Wimbledon quarterfinals, but he struggled with a shoulder problem that could jeopardize his chances of going further. After the drama and recrimination of his clash with Stefanos, this was a much less tempestuous after keeping to make it into the last 8 of a Grand Slam for the first time in 7 years. It became obvious during the first set that all was not well physically, but Kyrgios recovered from a set down and then clinched the decider against 20-year-old American Nakashima, winning 4-6, 6-4, 7-6, 7-2, 3-6, 6-2 to set up a quarter-final against Chile's Christian Garin. And I'll be all on sports today, live on Hstv. My name is Precious Azuma. Once again, healthy morning continues. You are welcome back, and if you just tuned in, you are watching Healthy Morning live here on Hstv, and my name is Stephanie Ejojina. You're welcome to this segment, Stay Alive, where we focus a lens on health and safety issues. And just last week, we have been talking about babies, taking care of babies, how to bathe them, how to put them to sleep, the right sleeping posture, breastfeeding, and transitioning from the breast milk to the solid foods and all of that, what to introduce to them, and more like that. And yesterday we also spoke about baby stages of feeding,
where 0 to 4 months you know what to give to your babies, where 6 to 9 months you know what to give to your babies, and so on and so forth. So we've been having these conversations last week and then yesterday as well. And we're going to continue. We want to help you first-time mothers especially to know what exactly to do once you take care of your babies. The old ideologies and old styles from grandmothers, from in-laws and all of that, sometimes or even most times, it looks as if what they tend to do to babies goes a long way to have the health implications of the babies. So we are actually dedicating this conversation as well to you, especially first-time moms, to know exactly how the appropriate way to take care of your baby, so that you can ensure their growth. And today we're going to have a conversation around baby development stages. It looks as if skills such as taking the first step, smiling for the first time, waving the bye-bye are all called developmental milestones, and we really want to have that conversation, baby development stages. So at the end of the interview, I hope that you learn a thing or two where you know what exactly your baby is supposed to do at a particular age. However, if the baby is not able to do that, it depends on the baby system. In as much as you'd have to quickly get to the hospital and check out them, sometimes it depends on the bone mass of the baby. So we have a broad conversation around that, and hopefully we are going to activate the phone lines where you can call in and then ask whatever questions you have concerning the conversation we are going to have today. Just know that the segments they are live is always interactive, so you can send your views, your thoughts, comments via the WhatsApp numbers at the right hand side of your screen. And then alternatively, you can head on to the YouTube page. It's Hstv Live. You're active there, and then you can get a link, and then you leave your comments, your questions as well beneath the comments section. Okay, and I've been joined in the studio by resident midwife, registered midwife, Rabia Tafarawa Saraminta. She came all the way through the rains. Rabbi, Namishao, so no majobo, ni ehabo, nile, ni habo treat bakba. They have wala sekele, they have shka, they have whatever you desire. God bless you so much for passing through all the time when we call on you. We are so grateful.
My pleasure.
Talking about baby development stages, I want to know from you for the first question is, what's the most important age for child development?
You can't necessarily put it at a particular age. Once the child is born, every blessed day should be a milestone for the child, because it is trying to survive in a place that it's not familiar with.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So every day should be a milestone for the baby.
A milestone. So I believe, in as much as you can't specify that this age, there'll be good weeks, there'll be difficult weeks and all of that. So what weeks would you say are the hardest weeks for baby-mother relationship?
Well, it also depends on the mother. Like you mentioned, first-time moms, it's new to the mothers or experienced mothers will know that, okay, around the 4th to 6th month, when the baby is grabbing onto stuff and all that, that is the most of the growing,
because 4 to 6 months.
Yes, because she thinks that she can't put or monitor the baby enough. So baby is here and then baby is there the next time.
Oh, so it's like baby is crawling to a different place?
Not necessarily crawling. Around that time, they can lie on their bellies and roll around. Yes, they try to hold on to stuff and pull. They are sitting, but the sitting is not too good. Yes, so you put baby here, baby falls onto its side. Some will also say the initial 0 to 3 months. To always hold her baby. She thinks by 1 month baby should be able to control its head, because she sees the baby raising its head, so she can't tell whether baby is doing it right. She's holding baby right. So they'll also say 0 to 3 months. So it varies with the mothers. Some 12 is actually walking and holding on here and there. That is where it's difficult for them. Yes.
So with the brief insight you've given us, would you say it's then important for a mother to know the baby development stages?
It's very necessary. Not just the mother, but those around her, especially the baby's daddy. Because
they have a role to play here.
They really have a role to play, because they need to connect with both genders, not just one gender. So it knows, okay, this is a daddy. Daddy has hair or beard. Daddy has a lot of hair on his head. Daddy is muscular. Daddy is kind of firm as compared to mommy. When I'm hungry, I go to mommy. When I want to play, I go to daddy.
Oh,
the baby can able,
I want
month exactly are we talking
So
about?
you can start noticing that from 4 months,
Okay.
4 to 6 months. So baby sees daddy, and then you see that they start jumping and
So
they are
baby,
excited.
is it that baby sees every man and baby is happy, or baby knows
No,
this is
baby
daddy?
knows. Okay, so right from when baby is in mommy's tummy,
Oh.
yes, baby can connect. Baby can identify sounds. Baby can,
in the womb.
yes, in the womb. When they get around 20 to 36 weeks, they can actually identify. So they know this sound. They know this sound is familiar and always around me. They know mommy's sound. They know daddy's sound. They know their siblings. If they have, the baby is going to have. Yes, they do.
Wow.
And so if daddy is a violent man and he comes closer to mommy, baby knows that this particular voice, this particular energy or vibration, when it comes closer to mommy, mommy freaks and mommy is scared. Yes, they know. So when baby is out again, even sometimes the moment the baby is out and is crying, when a familiar sound comes, the sound that baby is familiar with whilst it was in its old place or mommy's tummy, they keep quiet to it. They become comfortable with the sound. So there's been researches where right after baby was born and baby is crying, baby's daddy is brought to the baby. Baby hears daddy's voice, and then the sound of how the baby is crying lowers. But daddy touches baby, and then baby is calm. Yes, so at a very early stage, baby can identify properly some of the sounds around it that is familiar with. Yes. So from 4 months, from 0 to 3 months, you can get the baby, like I said, identifying sound. Baby
so you
can
say that out
smile.
of the 5 senses, the first the baby gets accustomed to is the sound.
Sound, yes.
Okay.
Baby can identify people that it was familiar with when it was away. Baby start to smile. And then some babies within the 0 to, so we are targeting 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So from the day baby is born to about 3 months, baby can now raise its head a bit, although it can't control its head yet because
raise its head as in lying down, but raise its head or sitting.
No, lying. You can't you shouldn't let a baby sit around the 0 to 3 months.
Baby can't sit.
No.
Oh,
Baby is now learning how to control itself.
Okay, baby can sit all by itself.
Yes.
But baby can sit on mommy's lap.
Yes, on mommy's lap, and then if mommy is supporting the baby, fine. But not for long.
But in our local setting, we see mummies having boxes and basins and puts cloths.
Yes, the cloth and pillows cushion the baby to a position, a comfortable position that the mummy could have given. Yes, so it's comfortable.
So would you
yes.
encourage that they do so, even though baby can't sit? The pillows, the cushions, is it allowed?
It's not necessarily allowed. Baby should start doing that again after 3 months. For the first 1, 2, and 3 months, baby should be lying on itself.
Comment. Tell me that. The roadside.
Yes,
the roadside
you see, it's necessity.
Pay attention to their business, their money. Then you see baby in boxes, some
lie down. Baby should lie down. Because it's now getting to know, okay, this is my arm, this is what it can do. So when you put the baby down, you realize that the baby raises only its legs and then arms. Within the first 3 months, it can move the arms properly a bit. It can hold on to stuff a bit and then moves its legs too. So after 3 months, so you're getting 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Here, the baby has about a good grip, let's say 80% good grip of its muscles. It can control itself, it can control how it sits down. So that is when you can put baby in a box just to guide you. At least you are busy doing your stuff, but if you leave baby on the ground or somewhere, baby might fall and hurt itself. So you are putting it in a box with cushions around it. Okay. From 4 months, 5 months, and 6 months, where the baby is able to control itself. Yes.
Let's take a step back to the father-baby relationship. You said even in the womb, baby is able to tell daddy's voice. If daddy is violent, baby is able to tell that, because when daddy gets closer to mommy freaks out and all of that. So it means that the presence of fathers is very important.
Very important.
What exactly do they do? Is it because they help mommy by lifting up the baby, playing with the baby?
what is the importance of the daddy's presence to the baby's development?
All right. So again, I said that earlier on. I said that baby will be able to identify the kind of genders that we have.
Okay.
So it knows that mommy is a feminine gender, although it won't say it, but we call something cognitive skills.
Okay.
The ability for the child to reason.
Okay.
The ability for the child to identify something knowledgeable. Okay, so baby knows that, okay, this kind of human being is different from this kind of human being. This one feels quite firm and this one feels softer. When a daddy comes into contact with the baby, the bond is that baby will be able to build skills, leadership skills. Not to say that the mother won't give the baby that kind of leadership skills, but each of the parents have their own special skills that they give aside genetics. So the baby can identify and have good leadership skills. It can have this communication, respect, so to speak.
Okay.
So it knows that these are the kind of people I should respect. These are the kind of people I'm going to learn from. Also, it gives the bond between the father and then the child increases. So we have children growing and then they don't want to even get closer to their fathers.
Oh, okay.
Yes, just because at the early stages, the father wasn't there to, assist mommy, take care of.
So I want you to give me a range of the months, maybe 0 to 3 months. Daddy has to be around. Maybe 3 to 6 months. Daddy has always throughout.
0 to 5 years. Daddy has to be around as much as he can.
You see, Rabbi, I keep asking this because when most mothers give birth or they are delivered off their babies, it looks like it's a normal thing in societies, in our local setting, where mommy has to go to her mother and spend about 6 months because she cannot take care of the baby all by herself. Mommy cannot also travel to the city. So granny cannot travel to the city. So mommy has to go live there for about 7 months. Baby comes back and baby is even crying. So the fatherly figure is not
there.
present. And it's like mommy has to go because granny has to take care of the mommy and the baby. Would you say then it's wrong? Granny would now have to come to the house and be with mommy and daddy because daddy has to be with the baby?
You can't say it's wrong because situations lead people to do certain things. Again, it's culture. In the African culture or Ghanaian culture, that is what we do. This is because we believe that the mother or the grandmother is going to hand over experienced skills to help her daughter take care of the grandchild now. In situations where the grandma can come to the family, it's good. In situations where grandma cannot come, daddy would have to foot the bill to always try and visit at least once or twice a week if he can. If he can, then once or twice a week, at least to be there. And when he is there, he should have long contact hours with the baby before he goes away. Yes.
Rabbi, I guess the culture aspect, but from you as a midwife, what would you advise between the two? Mommy going to stay with granny or granny coming home?
I would advise granny.
Mother will not go to granny and leave husband. Right?
Granny should come and visit.
Come home.
Yes.
Thank you.
But again, to create inconveniences. There are husbands who are not really comfortable, not the negative kind of uncomfortable aspect, but maybe husband feels shy of grandma too much, so he can't move around the way he wants to move around. But in cases where everything is cool, grandma should come. Grandma should come. I think she has to change with that. So
okay. Let's come down to the basic stages of baby development.
All right.
Run us through them. How many do we have?
Stages. Yes. We have the infant or newborn stage. We have we will call it baby stage. We have the preschool and then the school going age.
Okay. So preschool, school going age, adults,
yes,
adolescents, adults. Yes. It looks like they can handle the first stage.
The newborn,
then the toddler, and then the preschool.
Yeah.
Okay, at the newborn stage, one mommy is out of the hospital, mommy comes home. What exactly should baby be able to exhibit for mommy to know that, okay, my baby is fine?
All right, so talking about the newborn or infant stage, we are starting from 0 to somewhere 12 months.
12 months.
Yes.
A year?
A year.
Okay.
So we will now divide them a bit. Let's do 3 by 3 by 3.
Okay, I'll help you do that. 3 by 3.
So 0 to 3 months.
Okay.
0 to 3 months, baby should have started smiling at least.
Yay.
Yes. Some babies will smile. Some babies will hold on to stuff, your finger especially, small time for a while.
Okay. Whether male or female, baby should smile.
Yes, baby will be able to smile. Baby should be able to smile. Baby should be able to hold on to your finger. Baby should be able to identify your sounds. So baby knows mommy's sound, baby knows daddy's sound. Baby is familiar with them. So from the first 0 to 3 months, baby will be able to know that.
But how am I supposed to know that my baby knows my sound and my baby knows daddy's sound? And is when baby is crying, track that.
Yes.
If baby is smiling, I can know baby is smiling, so I know my baby is healthy. But how do I know baby knows my sound?
When baby is crying and you come around, baby would keep quiet. When baby is baby is crying and daddy picks baby up, baby will keep quiet. When mommy picks baby up, baby will keep quiet. But the time frame for you, a stranger or an outsider, to hold baby for baby to keep quiet will be longer than as compared to both mommy and daddy or those around when the baby is growing up. And then language-wise, baby will not be able to speak, but baby will give some sounds. Blah, blah.
0 to 3 months.
Yes.
We should hear baby saying all that.
Not necessarily saying, but they can give off sounds like that. So in case your baby is giving off, it doesn't mean baby is super. It's just normal.
Okay.
Yes. And then we go on to the physical and emotional sides too. Again, baby will be able to connect with both parents. So we have the cognitive side where baby will be able to identify mommy, daddy, grandma, stranger. Even though baby cannot speak, it can identify on its own. And then we come to the language where baby cannot speak yet.
Okay.
Yes.
About the smiling, the speaking, the identification of the sounds and all of that. Should grandma come home? It looks like mommy is weak, in as much as it's natural birth or CS, it's like naturally mommy is weak. So it's more like grandma taking care of the baby throughout. So is it because of the breastfeeding that baby has to go to mommy? That is why baby is able to connect with mom? Because I believe that in 24 hours a day, it's like baby spends much time with grandma because grandma is taking care of baby.
Yeah. Well, when they are fresh, from 0 to 3 months, they are usually sleeping. They are sleeping more. So at least when baby wakes up, it's with grandma, it goes to sleep, wakes up, maybe it's with mommy. So at least you can consider that. But even though mommy is weak and mommy is laying in bed, she should have what we call kangaroo mother care.
What's that?
Where baby is strapped onto mommy's chest and then wrapped with a cloth. So even if mommy is laying on at least let grandma place baby on your chest. Okay, so that you have that, and it gives warmth to the baby too. Yes, so aside connecting with your baby, it gives warmth to the baby, and feeding is much easier.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so that's
so supposing this is my baby on my chest.
Oh, we didn't bring that.
I didn't bring the baby down.
Means maybe to the kangaroo style.
Exactly.
And baby will be breastfeeding.
Yeah, so you just have to prop mommy up a bit so that she lays somewhere this way.
Won't grandma say something like,
no, if you prop the mommy up properly with a lot of pillows at her back, it should be okay for.
Okay.
Yes.
So with during this 0 to 3 months, how should I track my baby feeding? How many times should baby be able to feed in a day for me to know that okay, it's reduced, so there's something wrong with my baby, or is way too much and I know that my baby is a glutton?
Baby has to eat 2 to 3 hours every 2 to 3 hours.
Oh.
Yes, and then in meals it should be around 300 mils. At least you can measure with the feeding bottle, the small feeding bottle, the smallest of it all. It should be full, and baby should be able to empty at least 1/2 of it. That is if baby likes food. And if baby doesn't like, at least that small bottle should be okay for the baby. So every 2 to 3 hours, if baby is asleep, baby up and then feed the baby.
But if baby is rejecting that one,
if baby is rejecting, then there's a problem. It's either your breast is a bit dirty, yes, or the nipples are dirty. You know, when you are fixing the baby inside, you fix not just the nipple, but the areola, the black side that comes before the nice, pink side. No, you have to put it inside baby's mouth. Okay. So if any of that places are dirty, usually babies may reject it. Yes, and then sometimes to baby.
How dirty? Like dirty.
So it's in my bra. There's heat, there's moisture there, and there's dirt.
And baby
there's
knows
dust.
dirty.
Baby knows or try or bayare.
Oh.
It could be blocking the milk from coming because inside the nipple there are little holes there that this dirt can block, and then the milk will be coming.
Okay.
Yes, so on train. Sometimes too, baby might be sick, so baby will reject your milk. So all these things should be signs for you to know that I have to send my baby to the hospital to go and complain.
So how long should it take for me to know that it's a bad
At least
habit?
2 days. If baby is not eating properly for 2 days, and baby, they will be irritable just because they are not being able to eat. So you should be careful. You should be observant. Why isn't my baby feeding properly? 2 to 3 hours. Baby has done. So let's say 2 to 3 hours in a day. Even at night, midnight. So I do 12, I do 2 o'clock, I do 4 o'clock, but 6, baby didn't eat. 8, baby didn't eat. 10, baby didn't eat. Midnight, baby didn't eat again. So about 6 times, baby is not eating right. I should be worried. The next time baby is not doing so, I have to at least go to my pediatrician. So it's necessary for mothers, especially first-time mothers, to get contacts of their healthcare givers. So even if it's your midwife, get the midwife's number so that at those moments the midwife can connect you to a doctor. It might be that you don't necessarily have to come to the hospital, but there are certain questions your pediatrician will ask you that you'll be able to answer, and then directions will be given. Yes.
Okay. Right, thank you. So these are the basic things that we should look out for in babies during the stages of 0 to 3 months. Okay,
yes.
Let's move on to the next stage.
So we go to 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
So cognitively, baby is now able to identify sound. Some would respond to certain music.
But you're saying that baby should be able to, going back to the 0 to 3 months, baby should be able to hold the hand. Can baby see?
Baby can see when things are brought closer to it. And they can respond to sound. They tend to the sound. Yes. So you do this, and then it turns there, even though it can't really see whatever it is that is giving the sound. It turns. So around, let's say 1 month after the baby is in, he should be able to do the sound, and baby should be able to respond. Yes. It won't necessarily respond to it, but Obama will say what to say. Oh yeah, baby. Yes. You should be worried about the baby's ear. When there are loud sounds, baby should be able to get startled. Okay, so all these know that baby is developing properly or not. So we go back to 4 to 6 months. Yes. Right. So baby can identify on himself a shatawali sound, on himself a stone boy sound. If you are singing a lullaby, baby will respond and keep quiet to it. Yes. Baby would now be able to identify. So you would observe that toys are made in very bright colors for babies to be able to identify. Yes, until from.
You encourage that we get babies
exactly toys. Big toys, not toys that baby can put inside its mouth, because around that time again, baby is able to grab properly onto things. And sometimes exactly. So big toys, colorful toys. Some mothers will start reading to their babies. Yes, it helps in communication and language.
When baby is awake or baby is asleep.
Baby is awake, baby is asleep. Baby is relaxed now.
What materials are they reading?
They're reading, age appropriate materials, so rhyme books, little story books here and there. Yes, you are reading to the baby. Baby will be able to communicate. It helps them to communicate when a time is right. Baby will now pulling you, especially when you hold baby and you are eating. once a baby will also want to pull onto your spoon and all that. Yes. So some babies will try and eat your solid foods, but that is where you will be tempted to now start. And I mean, did they know this baby just no fun and so no, it's just a stage in its growth.
Okay.
No fun is son, but Sena, you ask Mama Ban, I did be saying
baby's exploring.
Yes, the baby can identify, say, this is something that goes up and down. What is that? Let me see, let me hold on to it. 4 to 6 months, baby will be able to do that. And then now, when we come to emotions or, attention, baby again will connect to you. So this time you realize that when a stranger comes, baby won't really go to the stranger. I don't want the baby will be comfortable. Say, okay, this person too is part of it. You see that Obibaka said, I could have one penny pa. That's just because baby has become familiar with just mommy, daddy, grandma, and the siblings. So you, the stranger, who say, no, I don't have to go there. It's normal for the baby to do that. Then we go from 6 to
4 to 6 months is baby sitting.
Yes, 4 to 6 months. Baby is sitting with support. Very good. A lot of support. It can grab onto something and lean onto it about a few minutes before it falls down again. Yes. So around this time you should be attentive. You should get a safer place where baby can be able to explore and move around at its own pace. Yeah.
Okay, so we are okay with the 4 to 6 months. And with the 4 to 6, how can daddy help in baby development?
Again, daddy should help. Mommy will be busy. Daddy will have to hold baby and connect with baby more. Speak to baby. Talk about stuff. You can just have a chat with daddy, because I remember back when my twin brothers were born, my daddy, even though they don't even understand whatever it is, daddy will place baby on his lap and be like, today when I went to work, I was tired though, I did this and did that. And back then I was like, now I don't want to do account, so what are you doing? But it's necessary. It's very necessary. Again, you are connecting with the baby. Baby is able to identify. Baby is hearing, but it is learning how to communicate. It knows that one person has to keep quiet and then one person has to speak. But when the baby grows up, all these things will come to play. Yes. So you speak to baby, not necessarily the unnecessary stuff, but age appropriate. Just chat with the baby, hold the baby, play with the baby anyhow you want, but carefully. Because as at then Nitina and solid there still. The baby doesn't have control over the head. So at least it should be moderate. Yeah.
And then 4 to 6 stages, baby making noises, baby talking.
Yes.
Baby's talking.
Baby is giving out blabbly sounds. So bubbles here and there, baba ta ta ta.
Should baby be able to say mama at least?
No.
4 to 6 months, baby cannot say mama, dada.
It's now learning. So usually their sounds are vowel sounds, o, e. Sounds like that. Not necessarily joining too late. And then some babies will now try to eat. That is where mothers start to feed their but it should start from 6 months, because at age 6 months now baby system is quite developed to hold on to a bit of adult food. Yes, that can digest foods better and substances better than from the 0 to 3 months.
Okay, let's move on to the next stage. We need to wrap up.
So now we 6 months to, let's make it 6 months to 12 months.
To 12 months. So half. Okay.
So now baby is able to eat solid foods.
Okay.
In a pure form, not giddy giddy. Now the gobene gari no. So baby is able to eat. If it's gobe with cocoa,
poto, then we can equally give poto without gari.
Poto, baby shouldn't be able to crack the lamps in it. It's pure. Gobe na watone gari na ye bare. Some mothers can be very dangerous. Or the man,
is it that they don't know
or feel say enene she enkuno waman once dio mekubum no di memfa mekuno, then no, baby is learning. Okay, so the fact that baby is learning and responding to different things doesn't mean baby really wants it.
At this point, I can't wait for my baby.
Yes, so baby is eating. Baby is able to still familiarize itself with strangers. Now baby can identify strangers from parents. So again, it goes to people that it is familiar with.
Okay. Let's go back to the feeding. Baby can, do the solid foods now. So do you have to put such pure foods in feeding bottles for baby to hold?
Oh no.
Or you'd have to carry baby, put one arm behind mommy, then feeding?
No. So now baby is able to sit. How you would able to encourage them to go on through their milestones. Baby is able to sit. So we have these nice little bowls for babies.
Okay.
We have nice little stools for babies. You are going to place your baby on the stool for a bit. Place the bowl in front of the baby. Baby is not able to grab onto stuff, so it is going to grab the spoon and try to feed itself. A baby firm, it's necessary for it to go firm. That way, baby is learning how to be independent.
6 to 1 year old.
Yes, baby is learning how to be independent. Let them do it. In as much as you know that if baby eats on its own, baby won't eat enough. That is why you are supposed to give breast milk till 1 year. Until solid food.
6 months.
1 year. Now it's even advised that we should make it 2 years, but here we are too busy.
Oh, okay. Even we're still giving breast milk, but you've introduced solid food.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are now in the 6 to 1 year mark.
Okay.
So baby should be able to grab onto the spoons and food. Now they put things into their mouth, so you should be careful what is around you.
Okay. Usually some mothers give babies food with big spoons that you and I use.
No, appropriate spoons. Now no Okay. Yes.
Okay. Let's wrap that one.
So baby is eating. Baby
walking,
is not necessarily walking. Some will be crawling. Walking starts from around 9th month, 9, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months. But just because Auntie Acey's child walked at 8 months doesn't mean your child is sick. Some babies walk at 1 year exactly.
Okay.
Some babies 1 year after also it's okay. Don't compare your baby to others. When Auntie Acey was in labor, you weren't in labor, even though you had your babies at the same time. Whatever Auntie Acey was doing in her room, you weren't doing that. So why compare your babies now? Okay. And baby girls develop at a different pace as compared to baby boys.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So at that time, 6 to 12 months, baby will now start mentioning mama, dada, tata, stuff like that. But it won't be able to mention complete words. Just mama, dada. They can say if they want to eat. So you should be able to identify, say, when my baby wants to eat, it makes this sound. When my baby wants to change its diaper, baby has soiled itself, it's not comfortable. It makes its face some way, frowns a bit, or would cry. You should be able to identify all these things. So from 6 months to 12 months, a lot of things happen. Baby will now be able to at least arrange big colors or toys. So we have red. Baby will be able to position all the reds here, all the yellows here, and blues here. Yeah.
Wait, during this month, 6 months to 1 year, we hear people say that this child is intelligent, this child is smart, even 6 months to a year. How potential mother, improve intelligence?
Well, you as a mother improving your baby's intelligence will have to do with the exposure you give to the babies. Bring gadgets that challenge the child. Like I said, colors. You see, red colors here, toys here, round stuff, square stuff. Put educational stuff around the baby to be able to grab and do this. Grab it. And nowadays, mothers are doing good. They have these nursery rhyme cards that they play for the babies in their house. And with that too, we have a problem. Now they give the gadget to the child and leave.
Okay.
So you find the baby just playing with the gadgets. Say tap, not doing. Mommy is not getting involved. In as much as it is good, the baby is learning from the gadget. You, the mother, you, the father, the caregiver, has to be there. The baby is going to learn how to communicate with human beings and not just gadgets. Growing up and not being sociable, they can't play with others. They become quite selfish.
Wow.
Because when it cries, mommy just give the gadget to it and then that's all. It's very bad.
Very bad. So we should stop the kunku, giving children kunku to be playing. Give them
play. Even if you want to do kunku, play with the kunku with them.
No, we want educational materials.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rabbi, for passing by. I don't know what to say. All I can say is God bless you. Thank you so much for that educational insight. We're so grateful to you. Your viewers as well are grateful to you for passing by all the time when we call you to feed us with good information. So this is our wrap up on today's segment, Matters Arise. My name is Stephanie Ejechina, and I had this conversation on baby development stages with a registered midwife, Rabiata Fariwa Saramita. We're going to take a quick 10, and then when we come back, William Diego Pakabeni will be on with In Focus. We'll be back.
Would you like to own a home, start a business, provide seed money, or a good education for your children? The Pro Wealth Plan answers all of life's questions. This is Ekwa 9. She wants to be an engineer in future. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hammond, plan to give her the best education but don't want to be unnecessarily burdened when she's ready for university in 10 years. Do you know how much it will cost Ekwa to go to a local private university or university abroad in the next 10 years? Ekwa's parents have signed up to a Pro Wealth Plan. They pay affordable monthly premiums that ensures they are able to fund Ekwa's university fees and living expenses. When she's ready for university, Prudential will pay the maturity benefit and her parents can enjoy free insurance cover for an additional 5 years. In the unfortunate event that her parents pass away, Prudential will pay over 200% of the sum assured, which is 100% immediately, 10% annually to keep Ekwa in her current school, and 100% at maturity for her chosen university. This means that Prudential Life has guaranteed Ekwa's education regardless of life's uncertainties. The Pro Wealth Plan also covers a spouse or partner up to the same sum assured. With over 26 million customers, 24,000 employees globally, and over 170 years experience, you and your family can have peace of mind knowing that you are in safe hands. Whatever your financial goals are, the Pro Wealth Plan has the answers to life's questions. Call us today and let Prudential secure your future.
On In Focus today, titled Brief Here from the Man Akwabwa. Just gone by, we're still live with our resident midwife, Rabiatu Asfarimita, and of course, my co-host Stephanie Jeremiah, discussing stages of kids' development and all. It's time for us to focus our attention on the economy. One of the very interesting part of the economy that other nations are making a lot of millions out of with respect to internally generated funds. We're talking about tourism and how here in Ghana we are going to put hands on deck, as the president is calling for all stakeholders, especially the private sectors, to also come together and support and make it a bigger dream for us to revive the economy as it is. Don't forget, in the back of this, the president, after refurbishing just recently the National Museum, taxed the tourism minister and creative sector, Dr. Mohamed Awal, that is giving him a task of about $4 billion to achieve by the end of 2024 with the tourism sector. How would this materialize? Well, maybe some few conversations and activities done would near to our benefits and make us better off. Remember, there's a signing of some contract and relationship issues with Malta and other countries as well. That is also all in the vein of increasing our tourism sector vein. So we're going to have a conversation on that, and I have the man in the studio, Mr. Kwame Buedu Ansom, Holidays Nations Ghana. He's also championing tourism here in Ghana. Of course, he has a lot of insights and in-depth when it comes to tourism issues. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Is a $4 billion budget 2024?
That's a target. Yeah, it's achievable. It is.
Really?
Yes. And,
because prior to this, he had mentioned that by the end of 2023, that is he himself, Dr. Mohamed Awal, that by 2023 we should be hitting about 2.3 billion Ghana cedis, and Ghana cedis. By this time it's in dollars.
Yeah.
How
yes,
realistic?
we can. Oh, it is. When, if you listen to the minister, Mohamed Awal, he said himself that he wanted to go into domestic tourism, that is to boost domestic tourism, is that he put across. If he continues that way, that is the way for the tourism industry to go. Having said that, you also remember that in 2019, when we had the year of return, I mean, the ministry reported that Ghana was able to get about 3.9 billion. Okay, so what?
Unfortunately, beyond the return, did it materialize? Well,
it depends on the policies that you put. If you use the same strength and efforts that you used in the year of return, then of course the year after will also bring you some more returns.
Now they attribute every failure to COVID-19, and now they're sharing. I don't see any beyond the return being materialized or taking effect, as we speak.
You see, it tells you the story of the Ghanaian tourism in general. That sometimes there are these ad hoc measures that we make. I don't know if you were around 1992. You know, we had this beautiful festival called the Panafest.
Oh yeah, Cape Coast.
Okay, so
I just returned from Nigeria then.
Okay, so you ask yourself that if you look at the 1992 and then the 1994 Panafest, I mean, there was a massive attendance. Okay, I mean, our brothers and sisters in diaspora, they came. That one is a biannual.
What happened to that?
Exactly, but you see, the year of return is a centenary celebration. So what it means is that for 400 years before we can do another year of return. So if you look at such festivals like the Panafest and all that, which is biannual, then it means that every 2 years, I mean, you can rake in some money. But because of our ad hoc measures, I can mention lots of projects that we've undertaken and then we abandoned them. So it's been an on and off. And if you don't have a steady progression, then of course the tourists come today and then they wouldn't come tomorrow, and then they come today, they won't come tomorrow. So that is the challenge that the 4 billion target is going to have. Because when we say 4 billion, then you ask yourself, what are the plans that we've put in place?
That's a good question to ask.
Exactly. So it is not just throwing the figures around and saying, I challenge you, you should hit the 4 billion. No, tourism is something you
believe that is achievable.
It's achievable.
What are the things you're supposed to do? Because the last I checked, most of our tourist sites have been, if not abandoned, the roads leading to the place are even terrible.
They're terrible. Yeah.
So how do we achieve that?
Yeah. You see, I think that tourism, it's something that is private initiated. Okay, though the government will pave the way and all that, but it's private initiated hugely. Okay, so we should move the story, the narrative from government to the private sector? How do we excite the private sector to go into tourism? Now, if the private sector goes, maybe the businessman goes to the bank to borrow money and all that and puts it into tourism, I mean, they will champion it. Okay, but if it's a government policy, government come, government goes, ministers come, ministers, you see that there will be inconsistencies, okay, in our drive towards tourism, and that is what we've been experiencing all this while. Inconsistencies.
So it needs a political will.
It's a political will, but then you set.
If you remember Nkrumah's time, there was a 7-year development plan that he
exactly.
The subsequent governments that came, they threw it away.
Exactly, that's my
point.
point.
Political will is also another.
You see, if you have
people don't follow.
Let's say if you have maybe a government that says, okay, we're going to look at tourism, okay, and then he can excite the private sector and they move into it. You see, the moment it moves from the dream moves from the private government to private sector, and they buy into it because they've invested, they will keep it running, irrespective of the government that is in power.
The Deputy Minister of Tourism and Creative Arts, was his Marco
Clemente,
recently downplayed the assertion that they have made earlier across the country. And it looks like he's now going back again, saying that, oh, it doesn't look feasible at this moment.
Yeah.
So then what is going to happen to that aspect of growing tourism also? Because those buildings could also attract people to come.
Well, even I understand, you know, when we throw promises around, okay, which are basically, okay, without needed economic research into such things, okay, I mean, some of these things will happen. Yeah. In fact, when I heard that political promise, and I said, oh, this thing, it's not feasible. Okay, because there are some areas in Ghana that people cannot have enough money even to eat. Yeah. And we talk about going to cinemas and all that, but there are some areas that we can do. Okay, because you remember back in the days, I think around the 80s, and so I lived at Katamanto and then also at Mamprobi, and then there were cinemas all over.
Even the popular one, Apollo Theatre.
Yeah. I mean, you had Royal was at Katamanto area. You had Plaza at Mamprobi. You had the one at what's the name? Opera. And I mean, it was of cinema. It was saying
we've abandoned almost all of them.
Exactly. So I think that
leads me to, you see, there are other aspects of it. Forts and castles.
Yes.
Name them. Almost every part of Ghana has some, especially
around the coast,
coastal areas. A lot of them. Yet, go and take a look at them.
Yeah.
I was recently at the castle.
Yeah.
I know some ministries has been put in there. Some of these new ones that they were created.
Yeah.
They are in there. The place, I was expecting that at least it to be refurbished, sort of, or some paintings or some new structures or something like that. But it's still the same.
You see, it all boils down to the drive, as I said, and you know, I think our biggest problem is how to get the Ghanaian to cultivate the culture of tourism, and that is lacking. That is, you see, we can talk about the international arrivals, okay, foreigners coming in, bringing us the money, but it's the tourism industry can be built boldly, okay,
by the
Ghanaians themselves. And when you look at COVID, the lockdown and all that, you know, one problem about tourism is that whenever there is a pandemic like COVID, okay, the first casualty will be tourism.
Airlines.
Yeah, because travel, because you know, diseases by their nature, I mean, they travel from one country to the other, so airborne. So we cut they cut the high and order. So if you have a vibrant domestic tourism, okay, what it means is that you have industries that are working. Now, the moment you break the business, what it means is that then they fall back, and then some of them over time will actually divert the investment to other, because man must eat. You understand? Yeah. But if you have the domestic tourism, which is vibrant, it will keep the industries in the tourism industry working until such a time that is conducive for the tourism arrivals to what? To come back. Okay, so that is how you build it. But you will agree with me that the Ghanaian, I mean, I can take you as example. Okay, that when was the last time you traveled Okay, and you look at maybe the average Ghanaian, we are all battling with how to eat and all that. So it's difficult for people to put money down to say that they are going on tours because they see it as
some sort of a luxury.
A luxury, but it is not a luxury. It is not a luxury. Okay, so how?
Considering the situation we find ourselves, COVID now we blame Russia, Ukraine as well.
The Russians have refuted
several times. Even Ukraine are refusing it. All these issues are compounding our problems. A lot of businesses gone down because of COVID and all that. How do we get back on our feet and begin to place tourism as, say, another opportunity to enhance our economy here?
Yeah, okay. But let me say that the industry was down even before COVID.
Oh,
the industry
was
down. Yeah. Especially, the tourism industry is also connected to
what accounted for that before COVID?
Okay, I'm about to just give you the rundown. There's a historical background to that. Okay, and that is even why it has informed us to be doing what we are doing on radio and TV. In the 60s, Ghana used to have a very vibrant nightlife. Okay. I mean, in one account, it is said that there were more than about 160 live bands, 140 guitar bandstands. I mean, roaming all over Ghana. And you're talking about a population then which was around 5 to 6 million. Okay, and they had all these bands. Now, if you count the number of bands that we have in Accra now, I don't think it will be more than 30. Okay, so we need to go back to ask ourselves what happened, and this is what happened. You see, in the 60s, from governance up to 57 when we had our independence, but 1966 overthrown. Okay, then we began interventions. Whenever
scared to go out.
No, whenever there is hold on. Right. Whenever there is a coup, something happens. Curfew. Whenever there is a coup, what happens?
Curfew.
Exactly. Then what is curfew? Curfew is where you place in a time schedule that from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. you can be out, but after 6 you cannot go out. Okay, so you see that all the entertainment that we're talking about, the nightclubs, and all that, they operate in the night. Okay, so when people began sitting at home, then they form a subculture where people will be like, oh, don't go out when soldiers will beat you and all that stuff. Okay, so it went on and cool intervention. And then FRC, even the other one, the more dangerous one, the ones that the unsuccessful coups. Because when there's an unsuccessful coup, I mean, the curfew is brought back, so that things can be stabilized. Okay, so over time, we formed that culture of staying at home. And then on the other side, the captains of the industries, talking about the nightclub owners, the cinema owners, and all that. People are not coming out to watch movies. People are not going out to the nightclubs and all that. I mean, obviously, you may have to, if you've rented the building, you may have to find another thing to do.
I can count a few, even in the recent 2000s, that were quite big. Okay. Now you can't even hear about them.
You can't even hear about them. Okay. If I'm to go back, you talk about Red Onion, Katabarum, Berlin Collection, I mean, KTK, and then you go to Kumasi, Podium, I mean, all of them. If I'm to give you an account of it, I mean, it will take all of your time. So it had collapsed before COVID. And what about COVID? COVID also came, and then there was a lockdown. So the few that were in there, they also went out of business. Okay, so now we have become Ghanaians. We are becoming like a people we call the couch potatoes. Okay, where you go home, you watch TV, and then you sleep and all that. Okay, but when we do that, what it means is that we are keeping the money in our pockets. Because what happens with but you see, the thing about it, it must come to you, and then it bounce back to me, and then bounce back to you. That is how you grow the economy. But it becomes static. I mean, so that is what we have now. We are not being able to bounce it back. Okay.
So you think that is a major reason or the issues?
Yeah, that is the second issue. But the first issue is that Ghanaians all our lives we've never been we've never had a tourism culture. Okay, that is the primary problem that we must solve. That is why when we started, after our research work and we started our project, we did not start with inviting people to go on tour. Okay, because you see the whole thing there, it's like you need to go into the nitty-gritties to understand, because one, people don't have what we call the income that they can spend. Okay, so they don't have the income. It's not part of it. It's not part of it. But I'll talk about tourism. So people say, okay, maybe I pay my rent, I pay my bills, electricity and all that. Okay, and down there somewhere, let me put in travel and tour. Okay, it never even occurs to us. The only time that we experience tourism or going on tour is when we are in the second cycle institutions, and we say, okay, so
it's educational tour.
Exactly.
You have to go and visit some place to learn.
And then afterwards, we go back, because when we were kids, parents never said, oh, let's go and take a vacation at Akusumo. Maybe you have some 2 weeks on our hands, let's go to Cape Coast. Okay, so it become a yearly thing, and then your mind is built that, oh, every year. You see, that is the thing. It must be on your mind that every year we go to a place. So even the kids will ask, Daddy, please, where are we going? The other time we went to Akusumo, we had fun. It's built. But when you take that off the brain, okay, of the child, he grows and it's not even part of him, because you never introduce him.
How do we redress that?
Okay, so we said the first thing for us to do is to have education, to educate Ghanaians about the advantages of going on tour or tourism. So we started our project on the premise on our radio called Tourism Education, where basically we talk about tourism and education. The education that it.
What are the primary areas, thematic areas that you focus on in terms of education?
No, okay, so we talk about health, and then we talk about maybe
reorientation.
The reorientation, and then the worldview. Which is brilliant. The worldview that tourism gives. There is no book that you will read, there is no film that you will watch, nothing that you will do that can gain you that. That is why even people who are not educated, when they travel and then they come, they are well educated. They become well educated, because tourism, it's the biggest classroom, okay, that one can have. And if you are not taking part in that, you are denying yourself. In fact, in one sense, the world is like a book, okay, and those who refuse to travel, they are like people who read one page of the book and then they
leave the others.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay.
So for us to reorient people, they need that education. We need to change their worldview, and also for health reasons. Right now, I think that you have your nurse here. She will tell you that about 80% of non-communicable diseases, okay, are triggered by stress, and tourism is one of the best areas
to de-stress. Interesting.
Very.
That said, I like that first angle that we discussed. Now let's focus on the nightlife. How do we bring it back to turn things around?
Okay. No, so if we need to bring it back, then we need to talk about the problems in there.
Of course, yes.
Okay, we need to talk about the problems there, because you cannot actually prescribe any solution without looking at it. So
it needs a lot of infrastructure development as well.
I'll share with you some of the things that I have. Okay. It was quite mind-boggling, so I'll share with you. Sure. One of the things we talked about, the coups that people, and then also you look at how we have developed our cities. Accra, we've gone horizontal instead of going vertical.
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of the buildings.
Instead of the buildings. So now you can see that when you look at the other side, the Kaswa side, we've entered central region. Okay. On the eastern side, we've entered Ebri, Uyarifa.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Tama side, that is the Volta side. We are going.
Going to the water region.
So basically, it becomes very difficult for people. And most of the nightclubs that you have, they are centrally located in the cities. Okay. So imagine that you are living at Kaswa, or you live, let's say, Community 25, or at Oyarefa. Okay. And there's a club at Osu that you need to attend. So what happens is that you come to work center of the city, and then you drive back. You know the traffic. I mean, all three ways. I'm not even mentioning. I'm not mentioning the someone road and all that. And then you go back. And now, if you need to come out to have fun, you need to drive back. And then after the fun, you drive. I mean, who is going to do that? I mean,
alternatively, maybe Fridays you have to stay in town after work and then finish your chilling before you drive back to wherever you come.
That one too. If Madame is at home, there'll be problem. Put some things, a project together. Okay, and that is one of the things that we were hoping that maybe government will look at it. I mean, these are the practical steps in arriving at the $4 billion. It's not just the saying. So we put in a project. It's called Stepping Out Ghana. Okay, so basically what Stepping Out Ghana is doing is that we are advertised that next week we are coming to another, and then meanwhile we are putting it on radio. Okay, we put it on radio. We wanted to see how the chilling will be going, but you know the TV is a bit expensive because of the visuals and all that. So we decided we'll put it on radio, and we are looking forward to having a number of radio. Right now we have 2. We are looking forward to having more, and then we sort of advertise, okay, that this thing is happening, so that it will ginger people to want to pass wherever we are coming from. Let's say if you're coming from Kaswa, we have properly trained tour guides in the buses who to also Kaswa, how the Kaswa township developed, dam, how it gives water to maybe a section of the people. We can talk about someone like say Asamajan. You know, Asamajan has a building. We can even talk about how when it rains, and then we talk about maybe the Wager Dam, and then we talk about Makati Hill. You know, there's a fantastic story about Makati, and then we talk about the Buzia Highway. We can also talk about. I mean, we will give in all those, stories, okay? And then we bring you to the nightclub. You come and you have fun, and then after, let's say around 3:30 to 4, we bus you back to your neighborhood. I mean,
very interesting.
It is.
And but it involves a lot of capital also.
Yes.
Because you're subsidizing the money.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, it's a 50
sponsorship here and there.
Yeah. So you see why I was saying that this is where, I mean, the PPP, that is the government, the public-private partnership comes in. Okay. So there's a few or one of the projects that when you put in place, you can now say, you can sit back and say, okay, now I can get my 4 billion.
Yeah, indeed.
And believe me, Diego, believe me, the 4 billion is just a threshold. We should have passed that back about 10 years ago.
I see.
We should have passed that back. And there are projects lined up that can secure us even more than 8 billion in a year. Because I remember
with the most brilliant ideas, they'll decide what they want to do. Unfortunately, we have to end the conversation. But of course, I'm sure we'll in the coming days we'll have another opportunity to deliberate more on the other aspect of it that we can focus on. You have any last words to?
What I would say is that in our fight to promote tourism, I mean the media is an integral part of it. Okay, and I'm looking forward that Hstv, you're doing great with your health segment and all that. I mean, if management could consider that, maybe once in a week you can give a small, time for us also to do tourism. I mean, then
that's my pocket. I'll be more excited about that. But anyway, thank you. Having a conversation with Kwame Wodo and some Holiday Nations GH, and he is a passionate, driven person when it comes to the tourism here in Ghana, and that's what we're talking about today with respect to how to grow our tourism sector and possibly achieve that $4 billion target given by the president to the creative arts and tourism sector, Minister Dr. Mohamed Awal. So as a wrap on that conversation, but remember when we started the show, we mentioned the fact that some places are getting flooded, the rains are down. Pictures that we're going to show to you on the screen right now, and then in case hopefully tomorrow we'll do more details on some of the areas that have been flooded. We need some assistance from NADMO and other authorities. So let's take a look at those pictures. As you can see, this is a circle, I believe, or Kanishi. Kwame.
Yeah, this one is a circle.
This Kwame Nkrumah circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Circle.
All right. So those are the places you can see water taking over all the places. A lot of flooding, and that place is prone to flood almost every now and then. No matter if it's even 40% of rain, we are getting flooding over there. The meteo says about 100% of rain should give us some flooding back. Now, as low as 40%, we have rain, flooding all over the place in Accra. And as I said, tomorrow we'll give you more details about some of these things that are happening over there. All right. Thank you. We'll wrap up by saying, I want to say a big thank you to they are located opposite Wisconsin University. In case you need anything with respect to massage, pedicure, manicure, all the cures you can think about, makeup, and all the other things that come to respect to that area of things. Just go to them. They'll sort you out nice and easy. As I said, they're located just opposite Wisconsin University at Hatcho. So please make your way there, and they'll sort you out nice and easy. Just mention my name or Stephanie's name, and then they'll give you a very amazing discount. All right. So that's how we wrap up for today's show, Tuesday, the 5th of July, 2022. God willing, tomorrow we're back, and we wish the economic management team and the president all the best with their meeting with the IMF. My name is William Diego Parker Benny, on behalf of my team, Stephanie Gina Mayana, our producer, Sharakabi, Brian, Bright, everybody here who supported us. We say thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow, God willing.